Welcome, everyone, to the Wizard of Radical Self-Respect. My name's Jared Mello, and I'm the Shepherd of Black Sheep. To my right here, Shadow the Night Owl. We've had a busy day already here because we've already done a stream earlier about my advice to estranged parents. Then I interviewed Dr. Salerno. That will be uploaded tomorrow. And now we're going to go over the Crash documentary and Mackenzie Shirilla. We have some interesting news that just happened. She asked Kim Kardashian to be her lawyer. And TMZ wrote an article about this that I'm going to read first. Then we're going to go over a Law and Crime Network video that talked about interesting details that were left out of that documentary. And you all have homework now, too. Homework is to check out that documentary because that seems to be the case of the hour now, too. Also, Brian Netton's been talking about that the last couple of days as well. So that's what's on the agenda here. And as people float on in, make sure you remember to like the video because likes are free. Spank the like button. Leave your DNA of choice on the like button. And as always, Danielle's number one. How about that, Danielle? Shadow and I say welcome. And as always, super chats, super stickers, and becoming a channel member or gifting memberships. Great ways to support the channel. They help me pay for Shadow the Night Owl soy-free hoodie snacks. And when you're a member, you get access to the members-only live streams. We do those once a week. Montana and Bethany, welcome. No Netflix. Well, perhaps there's a community account somewhere that you can use. You aren't late, Bethany. You're just on time. Black sheep are never late. We only arrive when we are supposed to. Right, Danielle? But all right, let's hop into this. I'm going to read this here. Hello there, Steve. Welcome. Ruth, Shadow, and I say hello to everybody. Let's see here. So, Kim Kardashian, not happening. Mackenzie Shirilla passes on legal help ask. Mackenzie Shirilla wants some legal help from Kim Kardashian as she sits in prison for the murder of two young men. But TMZ has learned that ain't happening. Here's the deal. In a call, look at all these stupid ads in here. It's ridiculous. In a call obtained by People and recorded while Mackenzie was held at the Cuyahoga County Correction Center in Ohio, the convict said she wanted Kim's help. Mackenzie even said she wanted Kim Kardashian to be her lawyer. Who wants to tell her? A source close to Kim tells TMZ, Kim advocates for criminal justice reform by supporting individuals she believes were wrongfully convicted, as well as people within the prison system who have demonstrated rehabilitation and deserve a fair second chance. This case does not fall within her focus. Womp womp for her. As you know, Kim has spent years involved in criminal justice reform efforts and advocating for inmates she believes were wrongfully convicted or deserving of sentence reconsideration. Mackenzie was convicted in 2023 of murder, aggravated vehicular homicide, and other charges tied to the 2022 crash that killed her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and her friend, Davion Flanagan. And again, this is what the documentary is all about. While the state of Ohio found her guilty, her dad told us what he thinks on TMZ Live. Interest in the case recently exploded again after Netflix released The Crash earlier this month, featuring interviews with Mackenzie, her family, and the victims' loved ones. So, short article. Now, first, let's go into what the documentary missed on Law and Crime Network channel. Welcome, everyone. Make sure you like the video on your way in here. There we are. So this is a good video. This is very popular by Law and Crime Network here, our friends over there. And let's see what they have to say. B, long time no see, B. What is shaking? Yeah, I don't know. As we're learning about her as we go here. So we'll see. Whether she's narcissistic, borderline, or whatever she might be. But toxic is toxic. So let's see.
I'm Detective Hazu. I'm the one who's been investigating the...
Mackenzie Shirilla spoke out for the first time since her murder conviction in connection to the crash that killed her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and a friend, Davion Flanagan. But I'll show you the parts of the story you didn't see in the documentary.
How you guys did this on the weekend is just, look, all you do is go, hey, there's a warrant for, we would have brought a rape.
Shadow likes Chris Stort's coverage. He likes the inside scoop that maybe Netflix perhaps conveniently left out. Let's see.
Down here with no problem. It's just unbelievable.
And why Mackenzie's dad now appears to be in big trouble after the movie's release. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Hey guys, real quick, before we get into this episode of On the Case, I need to tell you about this free app, Upside, that can get you cash. The movie The Crash is out on Netflix. It is a shocking true crime documentary that looks at a case that we have talked about a lot here on Law and Crime. And in this movie, for the first time, we see Mackenzie Shirilla.
So Dee had a good report from the labs today. The ultrasound went pretty well. It showed an inflamed gallbladder and a bit of inflamed liver, but no liver shunt, which is good news. She's on 3 antibiotics for 60 days. How about that, Dee? Sounds like the good vibes worked, huh? So Shadow and I are very happy to hear that, as are the rest of the flock of black sheep. Song Bits, welcome.
Shirilla give an interview from inside of prison as she is serving 15 years to life since her conviction in 2023. One of the more shocking parts of this documentary, it's not just what Mackenzie had to say, it's what her parents had to say. And there's been a lot of criticism of them after this movie was released. And to this day, they say their daughter's innocent. Mackenzie says she doesn't remember what happened on the night that she drove a car 100 miles per hour into a wall, killing Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan. Now, the evidence proved otherwise.
It's a pretty big gap, 15 years to life too, is it not? You think like 25 to life, 30 to 40 to life, but 15 to life. There's a big difference between 15 and life.
Fallout that we're talking about today has to do with Mackenzie's dad. He is featured prominently in this documentary. He unapologetically supports his daughter and says that she is innocent and that the judge got it wrong. But now it appears he's in trouble with his job because of what he said in the documentary. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. And we're also going to talk about some of the parts of the story that you didn't see in this documentary. It's a really good documentary, but I was surprised that there were some parts of the evidence that prosecutors laid out in the trial that didn't make it into the movie. So let's dive into...
So things the prosecution left out, or Netflix left out that the prosecution had said. This is big. This could probably influence how people see the entire thing. Because what do we say? Lies of omission. Not telling people parts of the story can be very manipulative. So let's see
how we got to this point. Mackenzie Shirilla was 17 years old. And in 2022, she is dating Dominic Russo. And she, like a lot of teens, is very active on social media back then. These are some of the images that she posted to her TikTok. And in 2022, she's dating this 20-year-old named Dominic Russo. This is a picture of the two of them together. They reportedly dated for multiple years. The couple actually lived together in one of Dominic's family's homes. Had the crash not happened, it was likely that she was going to be Dominic's wife today. But prosecutors say that story, it couldn't be further from the truth. They say, don't let the pictures fool you. This relationship was far from perfect. In fact, they say this relationship was toxic. Dominic's family testified in the murder trial that the couple would often fight. Dominic's mom said that the couple would make threats against one another.
Like before, you lied. You lied and said you would never lock me out of the house again. That is why we got back together last time we broke up. But I forgot. You can never
broke up with me
your
earlier.
word because you were.
You broke up with me earlier. You really broke up with me earlier.
This is your last chance to open the door, or you.
I'll tell you what, just from this 15 seconds, it sounds like she's wearing the pants in that relationship. She's the one pulling the strings. Take note of that.
You are not coming out of this house all night because I will not leave.
That's a phone call between Mackenzie and Dominic that was part of the evidence in the case, and it just gives you a glimpse into what this relationship was like. And in the early hours of the morning, on July 31st, 2022, this relationship turned deadly. That's video of Mackenzie behind the wheel, driving more than 100 miles per hour into a wall around 5:30 in the morning. Here's video from before the crash of the car with Mackenzie driving, fully in control, rounding the corner at a normal speed before prosecutors say Shirilla floored it. Dominic was in the car as well as Davion. Both of them died. But at this point, during the crash recovery, it didn't appear that we were dealing with a murder.
Duty.
Radio. This car's split in two. Radio, there's a occupant inside. Send us a squad now.
Westwood on the 3 on Alameda.
This is not a fresh.
Now, how the heck did she survive it so easily? If she was in the car too? That's my question right off the bat. But so, yeah, seat belt and airbag. I wonder, were the other occupants wearing seatbelts? Even so, she seems to have walked away unscathed somehow.
Rookie. Oh my God, dude.
This is video of police rushing to the car to see if anyone survived. Investigators believe that Mackenzie crashed around 5:30 in the morning, but this car wasn't found until about an hour later. And here's a clear picture of just how bad this car was mangled. Mackenzie claimed that she blacked out, that all of this was an accident. There's no doubt that she's lucky to be alive when you look at the wreckage left behind from this crash. Mackenzie was airlifted to a hospital with multiple fractures. Now, in the Netflix documentary, The Crash, producers don't touch on this, and I was surprised they didn't, because it was a key piece of evidence for prosecutors in the murder trial. And that evidence is that prosecutors say that there's cell phone data that shows that Mackenzie was in this area, the area where this crash happened, days before. And prosecutors argued that it showed that Mackenzie was scoping this area out. Now, in the vehicle, police found a weed pen, a bong, and multiple grams of marijuana. That certainly played a role in the story that prosecutors told as well. And Mackenzie's dad in the documentary talked about how his daughter regularly used marijuana. But prosecutors argued because she often smoked weed, that it wasn't something that would have impaired her and led to her putting her foot on the gas, as the black box in the car showed, and flooring it.
Looks like trouble here, Shadow says. Shadow doesn't like that look in her eye. That look in her eye is a little bit different than the DoorDash girl, which is a little bit different than that congresswoman we've mentioned. This one's, I don't know. What do you think, folks?
Into a wall at 100 miles per hour.
That smile, too. Eesh.
Impaired her and led to her putting her foot on the gas, as the black box in the car showed, and flooring it into a wall at
I don't know. Nightmare fuel, maybe? Got some nightmare fuel. Hello there, Wendy. Welcome. That looks like someone that, you know, there's so much you can tell from somebody just by looking at their face. And you can read a lot into like how confident they are, probably how assertive they are too. Shadow notices these things.
100 miles per hour. Prosecutors say she was not impaired at the time of this crash. As Mackenzie was recovering in the hospital, she played the role of a grieving girlfriend publicly. Prosecutors would later argue that she wanted to turn that role as a victim into something where she could make money, working as a model.
Shortly after the crash, Strongsville police were notified that they had received concerning emails from the community that the defendant and her mother were seeking employment with the Los Angeles modeling agency. Kenzie Shirilla said to Vitali Thank you for the comment. I would love to work with you guys. I've been emailing you guys a lot. Such a great opportunity. Thank you.
A classmate shared this text message with investigators that shows Shirilla asking for him to go get pictures of her from Dominic's room so she could put them in Dominic's casket at his funeral. So, quote, he can be with me forever. Shirilla also went to a concert in the months after the crash in a wheelchair, as you can see here. Prosecutors used it as trial to once again prove that she was not a mourning girlfriend, but was trying to capitalize on what had happened. Now, if you watch the documentary, there were also people who were friends of Mackenzie Shirilla who argued it wasn't in her character that she would do something like take the lives of two people, including the life of someone who she had dated for a long period of time. That's something that prosecutors didn't buy. It's certainly something that the judge that decided the verdict in this case did not buy.
The police were provided additional videos of the defendant from her wheelchair as she attended a concert down in the flats. And again, Your Honor, I'm introducing these to the court to show the shocking lack of remorse. This was something that was being exhibited while the investigation was still going on, before she was charged and arrested in November of last year. And these were the sort of things that were coming to the police, and the shocking lack of remorse, coupled with the fact that the defendant was reported driving an automobile shortly after this event, that she was seen in Strongsville, again, driving a car. In spite of the fact that, as her mother testified, she got dizzy sometimes from a condition that she had to take salt pills for, in spite of the fact that it was, in fact, her mother who provided her with the car that she used to take Dominic and Davion's life.
But as Mackenzie played the part of a victim, authorities built their case, and in November of 2022, she was arrested.
Where's she? Come back, please.
Could you please be careful taking this one off so it doesn't break the bracelet?
You got it. You got it. You want my glasses? No.
Thank you.
You got it. Okay. Just keep your hands right here. I'm not gonna tighten these, okay? I don't want to hurt you. You good? Are they good? Thank you. All right. This screws are right here.
Actually, he took her out of the car and we did not.
Okay. Do you have anything I can pockets, anything like that? Yeah. That's your head going in. Don't. I'm not gonna hurt you. You okay?
This is video of Shirilla in the back of the cruiser being taken to the county jail. She seems solemn. She seems emotional.
What happens now? What am I doing?
Okay, well, Mackenzie's 18, so...
The lawyer said they called and said that, not to talk to any cops because she's legal counsel.
Yeah, and we read her rights because she's 18, and we are not going to ask her any questions. We have nothing to ask her, so we're not going to ask her anything anyway. So when we're done with our booking process, she will likely be
So that's her mother there, for those who don't know.
Processed downtown. We'll transport her downtown.
That is video of Mackenzie Shirilla's mom at the police station after her daughter was taken into custody. Again, Mackenzie's mom and dad defiantly stand by their daughter, saying that she is innocent, even though prosecutors would point to the black box of the car she was driving, showing that the gas was pressed down to the floor. There was no effort to brake whatsoever.
Do you think there's also an an attempt to end her own life too and end all of their lives? It seems like it, right? I mean, I don't know. Did she think that doing that she'd be saved just from the seatbelt? I mean, that's a tough call.
Here is video of Mackenzie's dad showing up at the police station. Here's what he says to authorities.
I need to speak to my daughter because you guys aren't allowed to speak to her at all. That's from the lawyer. He does not want you guys speaking to her. And I can get him on the phone, he can tell you that over the phone if that works, or I can go in and tell her not to open her mouth. How you guys did this on the weekend is just, what all you do is go, hey, there's a warrant for, we would have brought her right down here with no problem. But it's just unbelievable. I mean, he's 18.
So the warrant was issued today, so we executed it today. The warrant wasn't issued earlier.
Well, you could have made a phone call, couldn't you? You had your creeper out in front of my yard watching.
She can't take any, she's an adult, she can't take any phone calls right now. She'll be transferred downtown.
Okay.
I don't know when.
Service is called advice.
She'll be transferred downtown.
Okay, well, I still need to speak to my daughter so she understands whatever, not to say anything to you guys.
Okay, and I don't know about the phone. I would have to ask her about that.
Can you go find it? Mine, it's not hers. I mean, I do need it. I have other children.
And that's how we communicate.
Yeah, and that's how we communicate.
Okay, so
I do need my phone.
I mean, being had to roll out the whole mask to pick up an 18-year-old girl who can hardly walk out of a hospital visit.
Yeah.
It's just beyond me.
So we follow the law, that's what we're doing today. So her, the phone that was in her hand is the one that we took, but I have to check with the detective to find out what's going on with that. I don't know the answer to that.
Can we find out? I do need it like right now.
Okay, let me at least.
I have
ask.
another child.
No, I get it. So you got left.
Can you, so, yeah. Thank you.
Then am I going to be allowed to have a 2-minute conversation with her?
You cannot talk to her about each other.
Why doesn't she get a
Well,
phone
she has
call?
legal
If you arrested her, why
representative.
don't she get a phone call?
She was just brought in. They're going to process her. As soon as they get the time for her to make a phone call, she will be able to make a phone call.
You just need to advise her. She has a lawyer.
She's a lawyer. She does have a lawyer.
She is 18 years old and she could speak
Yeah,
that.
but she's a dumb 18-year-old that just turned 18.
Well,
And you guys are, no, they're all the kids nowadays are dumb. And these guys are going to take advantage of it. She's not allowed to speak to you guys. I'm telling you
Listen,
that.
her
from her
attorney
lawyer.
can call us.
Don't ask her any questions. She's not allowed to speak to you.
Mackenzie's dad is now facing his own issues after this documentary dropped on Netflix. Before we get into that, I want to talk about Mackenzie's trial. So it's 2023, and Mackenzie, again, she argued, and she still argues to this day, that she doesn't remember what happened that night. She has no recollection, she says. Mackenzie opted for a judge to decide her innocence or guilt, not a jury. And that judge found Mackenzie guilty on 12 charges, 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, 1 count of drug possession, and 1 count of possessing criminal tools. At sentencing, this is what Mackenzie said.
Is there anyone else?
I would like Mackenzie to address the court.
Mackenzie, you don't have to speak if you don't want to. It's up to you. Okay? You can sit if it's more comfortable, whatever's better for you.
Mackenzie's mom addressed the court, and it did not go well.
She would never, ever, ever murder the love of her life. Okay? Halloween, for 3 months after the accident, she would only wear his clothes. She would only eat the snacks he ate. She would only listen to the music he wrote, okay? She was laying in bed for 3 months crying. There was a shrine of him next to her with photos and things that he liked and this flower that lights up that he got her because he wanted it to be fresh and alive forever. It's like a little Beauty and the Beast flower. Okay, she's got this shrine of him next to her. So she was crying for 3 months. So her friends asked if she wanted to go out trick-or-treating or some Halloween. And it was at OU. And she didn't even want to go. She said, I don't know, should I go? She couldn't even walk yet, barely. So I told her, I said, baby, please go. It's Halloween. You've been laying for 3 months crying, only listening to his music. Please go have just a moment of fun, a moment of fun. So we told her to go. My husband drove her. I brought her back home. She just needed a second of fun from losing her whole world, So that was us. We told her to go. And that concert she went to with Dom's cousin, Abby, they picked her up. They brought her there. That was Dom, Mackenzie and Dom and Abby all decided to go to this concert together while they were in the hospital. That was for Dom. Everything she did after the accident was either in honor of him, to be close to him, or just to be by him any way that she can. She's like devastated and tragic. He was the air that she breathes. Okay. And they went with his cousin. We spent all kinds of time with him after the accident.
So she seems a little bit kind of unhinged here, a little bit, like kind of barely holding it together. I'd have to see her in more situations to see what I really think, because this could just be a performance right here. What is she like behind closed doors? That's really the question.
What was the other thing?
I'm hearing an awful lot about your daughter. I'm not hearing very much about the two.
They all loved each other. They all spent every day together. You know what I mean? I don't know
And
too
isn't
much
that
for
part
him.
of the problem, Mrs. Shirilla?
Sorry?
Isn't that part of the problem, that they all trusted each other? Isn't that part of?
It's not a problem at all. It was
It's a
wonderful.
problem how they all ended up in the car together and two of them ended up dead.
I understand. I understand what it looks like. I'm saying that it was a tragic accident. She would never.
Well, we're going to have to disagree on that.
I understand.
Right.
Then it was the judge's turn to speak.
There's only one person who's responsible for the pain of everyone in this room, and that person is you, Mackenzie. Nobody else is responsible. This isn't the fault of Dominic's family or Davion's family or your family. And I know that each of you have asked your questions to yourselves, what if? What if I had done this or that? The truth of it is, none of us can control the intentions of another. And when there is a purposeful intent to harm or kill someone, it is the perpetrator alone who bears the responsibility for the choice and the consequences and the harm that follows. The difficulty for sentencing today, honestly, is whether or not I believe you should get consecutive sentences. I'm troubled that should I give you a concurrent sentence, that people will believe that somehow I'm being disrespectful to one of the victims. And on the other hand, I have to weigh the punishment. There's a very good likelihood, Mackenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison. That won't be up to me. That will be up to the parole board, and that will be up to you to a great extent. I understand that the pain in this room won 15 years.
In the documentary, it says that Mackenzie's appeal was denied. There is a little more context to that I want to talk about here in just a moment. But let's talk about Mackenzie's dad. He works as a teacher at a Catholic school in Cleveland. His name is Steve Shirilla, and he teaches art and digital media at Mary Queen of Peace School. This week, he was placed on administrative leave because of, quote, poor judgment. According to local media outlet Cleveland 19 News, Mary Queen of Peace School reportedly sent this following email to parents, quote, "Dear Mary Queen of Peace School parents, families, and guardians, we are investigating allegations made on social media that one of our teachers has demonstrated poor judgment. Upon learning of the allegation, the school acted immediately and placed the teacher on administrative leave. The investigation is ongoing. We want every parent and family to know that the safety, well-being, and trust of our students remain among our highest priorities. We take all student concerns seriously and are committed to responding promptly and responsibly whenever concerns are brought forward. While we are limited in what we can share during an active personnel investigation, please know we are reviewing the matter and will provide additional communication as appropriate. We appreciate your continued support of the Mary Queen of Peace School community." Now, Mackenzie's dad confirmed to this television station, Cleveland 19 News, that he has been placed on administrative leave. And he also told the TV station that he's upset with the documentary. He's upset with how it was edited. But he also says he still believes that his daughter is innocent.
So the father is on administrative leave, and he's not happy with the documentary either. He thinks it was unfairly edited. Interesting. Also, please remember to like the video out there because likes are free. Spank that like button. Leave your DNA of choice on the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend or five about the flock of black sheep here. We have a very supportive and encouraging group. As always, super chats, super stickers, and becoming a channel member or gifting channel memberships. Great ways to support the channel. They help me pay for Shadow the Night Owl here's soy-free Hootie snacks. Anything left over goes into the Hootie Snack 500. That's our retirement fund. And thank you very much for all of the support I've been getting so far. Announcements. Tomorrow, I'll be uploading my interview I did today with Dr. Salerno. And earlier today, I did tips and suggestions for estranged parents. If that's up your alley, go check that out.
Now, at the end of the documentary, you saw a part where they say that Mackenzie Shirilla's appeal was denied. There's a little more context to how that went down. There are some important dates to remember when it comes to how the trial proceeded for Mackenzie Shirilla. Shirilla was found guilty on August 14th, 2023. She was sentenced on August 21st, 2023. Her attorneys filed an appeal on October 24th, 2024. Her attorneys argued there wasn't enough evidence to prove that Mackenzie meant to kill Russo and Flanagan. But then in March of this year, her appeal was rejected, and it wasn't based on the facts of the case. It was denied because it was filed too late. Appeals court said they were not going to let her appeal her verdict. Now, again, Mackenzie Shirilla is serving 15 years to life. It is possible that she could be released on parole when she's roughly 34 years old, which would be in 2038. However, again, it is also possible that she spends the rest of her life in prison. That will do.
That's a pretty big gap, right? 15 years versus, I mean, you go to jail when you're 18, 70 years is 88 years old. I mean, that's a long 15 to 70 years. It's a pretty wide gap. So I'm surprised that bottom number, the minimum, is so low, honestly. I'm not sure how they came up with that number. Are you? Shadow is curious. Let's see what TMZ has to say for themselves. Did you all see Kyle Busch died at 41 yesterday? Shadow said, Jared, that's your age. And I said, yeah, it is my age, isn't it?
So, Steve, in the documentary, there is a lot about marijuana, that your daughter had used marijuana and that you, at least the way it was portrayed, didn't have a problem. And it seems that this could, and that it may have contributed to the crash. So, because remember, she apparently didn't even try to apply the brakes, and she was going extremely fast. So on the marijuana side, which seems to be pretty relevant, what do you say about that?
In the documentary, that is part of a longer answer. That was one part of, and I can't remember what the question was because the documentary people had interviewed us for 2 days straight and then came back and did more interviews. So there was a lot of questions answered. My answer wasn't, my answer, how to explain this, wasn't in support of marijuana, and it wasn't saying I'm smoking marijuana. What I was saying is that who am I to say who can smoke and who can't smoke? Now, I never allowed my daughter to smoke marijuana. How was I stopping her? You know, she was, couldn't lock her up in her room. I'm not quite sure where there's a problem with what I said. It was never, hey, everybody go smoke marijuana. Hey, you should, you know, it's, I don't understand why the documentary felt the need to put that in there. I don't know what the relevance was to my daughter in this accident she was in.
Right. We should also say that, and this is made clear in the documentary, that at the time of the crash, they didn't find any evidence of marijuana or any other drugs in her system.
That's not necessarily true. They found some traces of marijuana in her system. There was 3 markers for it, and 2 of the markers were inactive, and the third one could have said OMVI. That's in the detective notes, or that was in the discovery that we saw. And when we found out that they did not want to charge her with OMVI, they wanted to charge her with murder. So there was some marijuana in her system. Okay. Now, one of their experts said that you couldn't prove OMVI with it. So I don't know what the truth is, but she did have some marijuana in her system.
Can we go back to something you said earlier, which is, who am I to say what my daughter can and can't smoke? But she was 17 years old at the time. And so there are a lot of people who are...
Have you ever smoked?
I have,
When you were younger? Yeah, I'm not with my daughter all the time. All I can do is tell my daughter, "Don't do it. Don't do this."
But
I had no
you?
idea.
You may have. I'm just curious. Did you actually tell her that? Did you have talks
I
with
told
her
her,
about it?
yes, I have told her many times. Okay. Now I had no idea she was smoking in the car like that from the videos. That was new to me. I understand. I knew she did it, but I couldn't stop her. What am I supposed to do? You know, am I supposed to lock her up in a room? All I can do is teach her, don't do this. You're going to get in trouble, or this is going to happen, or something. You know, that's all I can do. I'm a dad.
I'm curious, Steve. This case obviously got a lot of attention at the time. Her trial did, and I'm sure you were speaking out in her defense at that point. What changed? I'm curious what the school said to you. What they saw specifically in the documentary.
The school said that the diocese. This came. My understanding is it came from the diocese. They got inundated with some phone calls from concerned parents, and so they decided to put me on administrative paid leave until they did an investigation. And that's what I've been told. And they're supposedly doing an investigation, and that's all I know. So that's what I was told, and blah blah blah. Now the internet has gone absolutely crazy about stuff, and that's, you know, now you guys are calling. So
and I get your point too, that you cannot stop a 17-year-old who wants to get marijuana from smoking it. But the one thing you could do, and maybe I'm not reading this right, so you tell me, is make it so she can't drive a car. Take the keys away. Don't allow her to drive. What about that?
Mind you, I had no idea she was driving and smoking. Now, I got a daughter who's 17, almost going to be 18. If I'd have known, I would have had issue with it. I would have had huge issues with it, but I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
So I'm curious, you know, when the school says that they're going an investigation, I would imagine, I hope that they're going to speak to you at some point. Is this about your parenting, or is this about your defending your daughter?
I have no idea. They have not spoke to me. I've called the diocese asking for. I asked to have a conversation, but in theory, I would hope they would support me like I've supported that school for the past 7 years. I mean, I don't know why they didn't speak to me first or bring me in and have a conversation with me. I mean, that's their decision. I mean, all I am is one of their teachers, you know. I have no idea. You have to talk to the diocese for that kind of answer.
So this is clearly not just the events and the prosecution of your daughter, but the documentary itself. It just must have turned your life upside down.
I think it's more what I said about the marijuana. I think that's where it's going. I've seen a lot online that I'm saying they're going, okay, it's okay to smoke marijuana. You can go smoke marijuana, and I smoke marijuana. If the diocese wants to test me every day, they can test me, and I won't have any marijuana in my system. I can promise you that.
Do you think that when you watched back the documentary, you said that you sat for 2 days with the producers. Yes. I'm sure there was a lot that was said. How do you feel about did you watch the final product? Was it a fair depiction of what you said?
I did. Well, I did say what I said, but I think a lot of stuff is taken out of context, and we had a lot to say about what we think Mackenzie's innocence is in this, and that made me sound. There's more to it than just the 4, 5, 6 sound bites they had of us. You know, unfortunately we had no editing, or we didn't have any of the control of the editing. They did what they saw fit. This is their product. They were very upfront with us when they spoke to us. And am I completely happy with how it came out? There's some things I like, and there's some things I don't like. You know, I mean, and we've gotten a lot of support for her and her innocence in this.
Well, just real quickly, this is hard to do quickly, but when you say her innocence, explain that, because to most people, she was behind the wheel and there was no braking.
Well, yeah, she was. There is zero evidence of intent and prior calculation in this case. There's no evidence. And the only evidence the prosecution actually has is 4.74 seconds of black box information. Your car has a black box like the airplanes, but it doesn't record the cabin sound, all that. It's mechanical. And it is a non-linear recording. And what happened, or what our car expert said happened, was that the car was, I can't explain the speed. First of all, I have no idea. Nobody is ever going to know what happened in that car. It's not that the car was going fast. It's not that the car crashed. It's why. There's no explanation of why. And the prosecution, even in this documentary, says, look, I turned over every rock. I looked at everything and I couldn't find anything. So it's murder. So she did it on purpose. This prosecutor is, in my opinion, is lazy. It's like the wife dies and they instantly think it's the husband. So there's so much.
Now, here's the thing. If she's truly blacked out, if she was on, like, say, Xanax, but I don't think she was, right? If she was on Xanax, she could maybe get an involuntary manslaughter charge, perhaps, or vehicular manslaughter even, but that's not as bad as what she got. I mean, she got, what? Murder, 15 to life. So it would have been better for her years-wise if she really did just black out and was on drugs, but I don't think that's what happened here, right? Only a little bit of weed in the system, and they had found the other drugs in the car too. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks.
In this case, and there's so much omittance of evidence and changing of evidence and illegally changing evidence that there is some.
You're not suggesting there was something that went wrong with the car, are you? I mean,
I don't know. It could have. It's possible.
Because the black box I would think the black box would have shown that if there was a mechanical.
No.
I think what you're saying.
Hold on.
I think what you're saying is this sounds more like, at least in your head, vehicular manslaughter than it does murder.
It is vehicular homicide, and it should have never left the juvenile court.
Yeah.
Grace, Mackenzie asked Kim Kardashian to be her lawyer. Kim Kardashian did not ask to be her lawyer. We went over that in the very beginning. Kim Kardashian is not interested in being Mackenzie's lawyer. That's not the kind of case that she even works with.
That car was coming down that street at a good clip. And I don't know if, I'm assuming you have no idea what the road looks like, but the road has a little bend in it towards the end. The car hit a dip in the road that's giant and dangerous. And we've got all kind of video of this dip. And when I went through it at a good clip, my car went flying. There's bottom out marks in the cement. The city just fixed it this year, over the summer last year. They finally filled this giant hole in. Before the car hit the building, before the car crossed the road, the car thought it was flipping over. There was our car expert. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my thoughts straight while I'm saying this.
Okay.
Our car expert said the car thought it was flipping over. At about 5 or 6 seconds prior, there was the car system or felt the car go to the right, yanked on the right. And this is about the time where that dip was. The car thought it was, the car safety features thought the car was flipping over and deployed both side airbags. And our car expert, and this is 4 or 5 seconds prior to her crossing the road, even before hitting the building. He said that the black box turned on and started recording, which is nonlinear. So the prosecution has only 4.74 seconds of information from when the box turned on to the accident. They have no idea, absolutely no idea what that car was doing other than going fast, which is reckless, from when she turned on the road. So there's so much more to this than what the prosecution put forth. We have we have contradictory evidence about things that were said in the court. But there's nothing that says prior content or prior calculation, and there's no intent.
We hear, you know what, we're out of time, but we hear your point. I mean, your point is that you need to show intent in order to prosecute somebody for murder, and you're saying that this feels to you like the most they could show is reckless, is vehicular manslaughter.
And her not pressing the brake, is that intent. Now,
No,
Again,
we get it.
non-linear.
We get it.
I get it.
So look, we are out of time. We really, really appreciate it. I know it's hard for you, but we appreciate you coming on.
Well, I hope you look into more of my daughter's innocence and maybe, go to the free Mackenzie Shirilla page or Crime Circus.
Hey guys.
There's a ton of paperwork I went through. Hey guys, appreciate you guys for watching, for checking out my channel. The Mackenzie Shirilla documentary, it's called Crash. It's on Netflix. It's getting a ton of reaction. And in this episode, I'm going to dive into not only the latest with her story, but specifically into her appeal. What she says went wrong during her trial and why she thinks that she deserves a new trial. And is that a possibility? Could she actually get a new trial? She has some very, very specific arguments about what she says her lawyer did wrong. The lawyer that represented her in the first trial, the lawyer who you saw, if you saw the documentary Crash. She also talks about text messages that she says were not properly portrayed during her trial. Again, these are things that came out in this appeal that I'm going to go through step by step, and then going to talk with attorney Mark Eiglarsh about what he thinks are the chances that she could actually get a new trial. But first, a little recap. Mackenzie was the driver of a crash in 2022 in Ohio. She survived, but her boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and their mutual friend, Davian Flanagan, were killed. It was a tragic, tragic story. She was convicted of murder and also other charges after investigators say she deliberately drove 100 miles an hour into a brick wall. The investigation showed that in the 5 seconds before the car hit the wall, that there was absolutely no attempt to hit the brakes, and instead the accelerator was pushed down to the floor. You know, these cars have black boxes now, so they can look at the computer and they can see what was done right before a crash. And investigators say her foot was down on the gas all the way, that this was intentional, and that there was no attempt to push the brake at all, that the accelerator was pushed all the way down. They say it was definitely intentional. The Mackenzie and Dominic had a volatile relationship, which came out during the trial. And again, I'm going to get into her fight for an appeal and the reason for that in a minute in a very detailed way. But first, I want to play for you my interview with the prosecutors. I actually went back. I remembered I interviewed the prosecutors on this case. This was back in 2023, so this was like 3 years ago. I interviewed them right after Mackenzie was convicted. So I just want to play you a little snippet of that. This was obviously done long before this documentary was made on Netflix.
This is really a brutal case. I mean, you think about that crash, it's hard to wrap your mind around. How were you able to prove that she did it intentionally?
That all depends, Christy, because it depends on how your foot's positioned on the pedal. Like if it's going to raise you back up or etc. Are you blacked out or passed out? You can be blacked out and have your foot all the way down. Passed out is a different story.
So I think it started with the video evidence that we had. We had a video of the actual impact of the crash. We had a video about 59 seconds before that, the impact video that you're showing, that showed the defendant driving in a slow and controlled manner using her turn signal. And then there's another video about a quarter of a mile away from the crash. At that point, she was already going 98 miles per hour. She had made up her mind and was on a course that she never turned back from.
Allison, were you all able to uncover anything to determine whether she had been planning this out ahead of time?
So we had played some audio evidence that we had received from the victim, Dominic Russo's family, that involved a cell phone that Dominic had used a week or two prior before this incident to record a very heated, tumultuous argument between himself and Mackenzie. These recordings were
Grace was asked. Kim Kardashian asked, meaning she was asked, not Kim Kardashian asked. Mackenzie asked. That's what it means.
were left on the cell phone, we believe, and recorded by Dominic.
All right, so yeah, I look a little different. It was 3 years ago. I think mainly just my hair was shorter. But with the appeal process, it gets complicated with the appeal process. I'm going to go through all the reasons that Mackenzie says she should get a new trial. She's pointing fingers at her lawyer specifically. But first, let me just explain a little bit of how we got here. She first filed an appeal with the Court of Appeals. That was rejected. Her conviction was upheld. So that failed. Then she filed a second appeal, which is the one I'm going to explain in a second. But that was rejected because, and this is where it gets interesting, it was filed 1 day late. There is only a 1 year filing period. You're allowed to 365 days. And she filed it 1 day later. I should say her lawyers filed it 1 day late. And so that's the reason that it was rejected. So now she has appealed to the Ohio Supreme Court, trying to get them to accept the appeal and essentially go after her lawyers, saying that they did not do a good job during the trial, that they left out key evidence and didn't explain her medical condition. And it's now going to be up to the Supreme Court to say, okay, well, no, you can't appeal because you technically missed the deadline, or yes, you can't appeal and it's not technically your fault that your lawyers missed the deadline. They're going to have to make that decision. And that's something I'm going to talk to Mark Eigelash about in a minute. But I want to go through some of the key points of the filing when it comes to the appeal itself. This is the motion that was filed. This is back in October of 2024, but it goes through some of the main reasons here that she believes she deserves a new trial. I'm just going to read you some of this. I went through, there's a ton of paperwork I went through. I won't go through all of it, but I'll go through some of the highlights. This says, despite charging Shirilla, which is obviously Mackenzie, with aggravated murder, the detective was unable to identify the evidence supporting prior calculation and design. Rather, he arrived at the conclusion simply because other potential explanations had been ruled out. So they're basically saying that there was no real evidence, they say, supporting prior calculation, that she had planned this whole thing. The detective could not confidently state whether one or other occupants actually turned the wheel, sending the vehicle off the roadway and toward the brick building. So you guys remember, if you watched the documentary, if you followed the coverage, the computer, the black box that I was explaining is in the car that showed that the wheel was turned at one point. And this appeal is saying, this effort to get an appeal, they're saying that that the detective couldn't confidently state whether one or of the other occupants actually turned the wheel. So there's still questions there. This is interesting. The juvenile court ultimately held that the state failed to establish probable cause to support the aggravated murder charges, meaning the court rejected the state's theory that the July 17th incident constituted prior calculation and design. So they're saying that she was only 17, that it first went to juvenile court, and that
even that car looks different than the car that we saw in that original Law and Crime Network video. That doesn't even look like the same car.
They failed to establish probable cause. But that changed when it got into an adult court. So that's something that they brought up in this effort to get an appeal. Apart from these prior unrelated arguments, the state failed to introduce any evidence suggesting that Shirilla harbored animosity or ill will towards DR, which would be her boyfriend, Dominic, such that one could reasonably conclude that she purposely crashed the vehicle with the intent of killing him and the other occupant. To the contrary, the evidence overwhelmingly established that Shirilla and Dominic were getting along well and appeared to be in love in the days and hours leading up to the accident. And they basically go on to say that there's evidence that the attorney, who was her attorney during the trial, did not tell the court about that proves that they were in love and that there wasn't this big this big fight and animosity leading up to the crash, which is what the prosecution has said. Hey guys, I want to introduce you to the sponsor of today's episode, Incogni. Identity theft, it is such a big issue. I am always so paranoid every time I get a credit alert. I've had several family members and friends have their identities stolen, and it is just the worst. Criminals can get personal information. They use it for scams, stalking, harassment, all sorts of other illegal activities. And that is where they can't harm you if they can't find you. Click the link below to claim your 60% off and get your personal data off the market. But in terms of their arguments, why they believe there should be an appeal, and I'm going to have Mark Eiglarsh explain this in more detail in a second, but it says trial counsel rendered ineffective assistance thereby depriving Shirilla of her right to due process of law and a fair trial under both the United States and Ohio Constitution. So what's that? It sounds technical. What it means is they are saying her lawyer did a bad job and did not fairly represent her, and that's the reason she should get a new trial. Trial counsel was ineffective by failing to conduct an adequate, independent investigation to support the defense's theory of the case. The counsel did not introduce any competing scientific evidence to rebut the state's findings and conclusions. Moreover, he largely limited his cross-examination of the state's experts to issues of whether any accelerants had been found in the clothing and to chain of custody for certain evidence collected at the scene. So they're saying that the lawyer didn't do a good enough job and that she should get a new trial for that reason, that he didn't even bring any of his own experts on some of these issues. Despite having knowledge and evidence concerning Shirilla's POTS diagnosis, that's the medical condition she claims that may have caused her to black out and crash the car without her knowing. They are saying, she obviously has new attorneys who filed this, that Attorney McDonald, who is the attorney she had during the trial, failed to undertake any efforts to substantiate the theory that the accident was caused by a medical issue, including consulting with a medical expert and or presenting testimony to that effect. In fact, Attorney McDonald failed to introduce medical records substantiating that Shirilla had in fact been diagnosed with POTS. So saying that he did not do a good enough job to talk about the medical condition that she had. Trial counsel knew that Shirilla was predisposed to experiencing seizures or loss of consciousness as a result of her POTS condition. Moreover, trial counsel had copies of Shirilla's.
The thing I was thinking with the thumbnail was Kim Kardashian asked, as in Mackenzie asked her. So she was asked. So Kim Kardashian asked to be Mackenzie's lawyer, meaning Mackenzie asked her. So Kim Kardashian asked to be. Like she was the one asked. Like that's just another way of phrase the same thing. But since I didn't say was asked, people didn't understand what it meant. But I thought the title would instantly clear it up. But I guess not.
Medical records confirming her POTS diagnosis. Despite the significance of said evidence to the defense's theory of the case, trial counsel never attempted to present evidence regarding Shirilla's documented medical condition. So again, saying lawyer did a bad job, didn't provide these documents to the court, didn't get any experts of his own. Remember, there was a jury. There was no jury. This was a trial where the judge made the decision, which Mark Eiglarsh is going to talk a little more about in a second. But that may come into play when it comes to why there weren't more experts used. Prior to trial, Shirilla's family provided Attorney McDonald with copies of text messages that had been extracted from Shirilla's phone, which I'm going to read to you in a second. A review of these messages confirms that there were communications between Shirilla, Dominic, and Dominic's mother, Christine, concerning the July 17th, 2022 incident. This is an incident that happened before the crash. For instance, messages extracted from Shirilla's phone show that she sent a message to Christine on July 17th stating, "Can you come get me? Can you come get Dom? He just grabbed my steering wheel on the highway trying to spin my car and hurt me." And what they're saying here is that these text messages were not portrayed properly during the trial. And what they say these text messages show is that it was actually the boyfriend who tried to crash the car in that previous date, not Mackenzie. Whether that's true, we don't know. I mean, she may have been lying in all of these text messages. Let me read you the messages, though, because they're in the actual messages. Copies of them are in this filing. This is between Mackenzie and Dominic's mom. Mackenzie writes, "Can you come get Dom? He just grabbed my steering wheel on the highway trying to spin out my car and hurt me. I'm scared to drive because it's raining, so I just need him to get picked up. If he doesn't get out of my car, I'm calling my dad, so please tell him to get out." And then the mom responds, "Hench is on his way. Calm down for now, please." And then she writes, "TBH, I can't calm down when he just tried to end my life. Then he lied to you about it." And she wrote, "I'm just trying to diffuse for now. I'm not mad at anyone." And she writes, "I don't think he's capable of that when he keeps telling me to shut up and to duct tape my mouth. I do not feel safe. He's also threatening to blackmail me to my mom. He's not getting out. He also blocked me, so I can't go up go pick up any of my belongings at his house. I hope this is a learning experience for him and what not to do with women, because I really don't think he knows how to treat them at all. And then she wrote, stop the fighting and stop lying. So it's possible. We don't know what really happened here. I mean, it was just the two of them, but she could just be typing this stuff and it's not even true. But the mom says, stop the lying. When he gets his things, you can get yours. Then she writes, first of all, I am not lying about anything. Maybe you shouldn't take his word so seriously. You don't know how he treats me behind closed doors. It's never okay to try to end somebody's life and put their hands on people. Again, whether he really did that, we don't know. She writes back.
Narrative control by her, right? So did this really happen? I don't know.
No one should touch anyone. No fighting for sure in the car. He never put his hands on you. That's the mom. And then she writes back, Mackenzie writes back, you need to tell him that. He tried to end my life today and told me, do you want to die? I almost hit the wall and I could have died. And then she writes back, and you haven't blackmailed him with the cops 100 times? Mackenzie writes, LOL, clearly you don't care about this situation. I should have known you would have taken his side. He could literally kill me and you would still believe him over me. Both of my purses need to be outside within 10 minutes because I'm coming to get them. My dad is coming to get my purses. And then she wrote, I'm not arguing. Mackenzie responds, as long as you're defending his actions, he's never going to learn that this is wrong. But the main part that the appeal is concerned with is when she writes, can you come get Dom? He just grabbed my steering wheel on the highway trying to spin my car out and hurt me. Again, whether that's true, we don't know. She may have just written that, and that may not be what happened. But the appeal is saying that that should have brought you.
And how about that, Autumn? What does that sound like? So if she threatened him at the wall and then wound up doing it, what does that sound like? It sounds like what Lynette Hooker's daughter was saying about Brian Hooker, right? How Brian Hooker threatened to end Lynette Hooker's life at sea. And then here you go. Here's Mackenzie here, also threatening to end her boyfriend's life to his mother, almost in a way. Eerily similar, I would say. Shadow says he doesn't believe in coincidence either. Please make sure to like the video as well, because likes are free. So spank that like button. Leave your DNA of choice on the like button. And as always, super chats, super stickers, and becoming a channel member or gifting channel memberships, great ways to support the channel. They help me pay for Shadow the Night Owl's soy-free hootie snacks, as they say. And thank you very much for all of the support we've been getting so far.
Been brought into evidence during the trial in a different way. The question here, though, really, the central question, I think, to whether she should get an appeal right now, or whether it should even be reviewed, I should say, is this deadline. She missed the deadline by 1 day. She has new lawyers who filed the appeal. So when I say she missed the deadline, it's not technically her fault. So should she put all this aside?
What do we have here, Shadow? What do we have here? Nanny Goat! Thank you very much for this, Nanny Goat. Thank you for helping with family issues, Jared. I truly value your intelligent, real, and uplifting advice. Well, it is Shadow and mine's pleasure to give you the advice, whether it's about tips for parental alienation or the narcissistic content or the true crime stuff. We're all very happy to help. Thank you very much for your support, Nanny Goat. Most of us are black sheep, but Nanny Goat is the Nanny Goat. From the land down under, Australia, with our buddy Sweet Caroline. 8 hours away in Australia, but still Australia. Still the same continent, Shadow reminds me. So thank you again, Nanny Goat.
Should she be punished because her lawyers missed the deadline by 1 day? That's something that the Ohio State Supreme Court's going to have to figure out now. And just to kind of dive into this a little deeper, I want to talk with attorney Mark Eiglash.
Hey, Mark, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. First of all, I want to wish you a happy birthday. And I know you're in a rush to get to pickleball, so I'll try to get this going quickly. But a lot of people are talking about this case with Mackenzie because this new documentary that's out on Netflix. And I was digging into her appeals. It seems like one of the main arguments is she's saying her lawyer didn't do a good job, that he didn't present witnesses relevant to her medical condition, that there are text messages that he left out.
Also, Sikorsky becoming a member here. So now Sikorsky has access to the members-only live streams again, if she didn't already. So thank you, Sikorsky. Were you there in the members only live stream yesterday? I can't remember. But thank you anyway, Sikorsky. Shadow and I appreciate it.
Context of those text messages. What do you make of that argument?
I think that probably won't go anywhere. Most of the time it doesn't. It's a common argument that defendants make. They go after their attorneys. The stronger argument is that she's not even eligible for an appeal at this point because they missed the cutoff by 1 day. When I say they, the defendant didn't miss it. Her attorney did. And I think her greatest argument is that they rendered ineffective assistance of counsel. By that, I mean they, her defense team, by not getting the appeal notice filed during the appropriate time period.
So not only would she be going after her lawyer she had during the trial, but you're saying she should now go after her lawyer that was working on the appeal for missing the deadline.
Well, of course, I am no fan of this young lady's at all. I think that the judge got it right. I think there's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I am not a fan of hers, but I am a huge fan of due process. And to miss the cutoff by a day, listen, she doesn't know how to file these things. She relies upon an attorney to do so. And because a leap year or whatever they're claiming was the reason why he missed it by 1 day, the appellate court at some point should say, okay, fine, we'll make an exception, or find that the attorney rendered ineffective assistance of counsel in violation of the famous case Strickland versus Washington. He didn't do his job. And as a result, she had to pay. And that's not fair.
So the Supreme Court could actually say, because the lawyers missed it by a day, we're going to give you another shot?
The appellate courts should say that she didn't have effective assistance of counsel.
I mean, to be fair, I think he's right about that. If they missed it by a day, what kind of lawyers are they to be missing the deadline by a day? That's incompetence. And that's something that, regardless of Mackenzie's guilt, that part's not her fault, I don't think.
And as a result, a new lawyer can go in and properly file this thing, and then she gets to have this heard. Yes, I believe that that's fundamental fairness. And then let it be heard, and then they can deny her appeal on the merits because her attorney did the best job he could with what he had.
Something else that other people don't realize is that the initial trial she had was a judge trial. There was
Correct.
no jury. Is that common?
Very uncommon. It's called a bench trial. And I can't, in 33 years of doing this, I don't think I've ever done one. I don't know unless the judge signals to me, like, just bring it in front of me. And I don't know that the judge would ever do something like that. So then I'd always have a doubt. I'd rather put 6 or 12 in the box and be more comfortable with people who can have an open mind, who aren't politically motivated, because most judges have to face re-election unless you're talking about the federal system. So it is extremely rare. But I didn't disagree with his decision. I think a jury would have convicted her very easily. The argument was an intellectual kind of a very focused argument to say that there's just no evidence of the main charge, but judge, you can find her guilty of something less than that because there's no purposeful. It wasn't intentional. And the judge rejected that, like I knew that the jury would.
Yeah, and the judge, what was interesting with her is she, which I guess I hadn't just seen a judge trial like this, but she could ask questions throughout. And even like during the sentencing, when the family members of Mackenzie were speaking, saying, oh, you should give her, less of a sentence, whatever, she would like interrupt them and like
Right.
comments and ask questions, which I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, two things. One, sentencing, anything goes. I mean, a judge can interrupt, people can do whatever. That's not anything. It's the trial itself. And usually jurors aren't asking questions and interrupting. That's one of the perils of a bench trial. A judge can jump in and say, wait, I have a question, or wait, point of clarification, or whatever. Judges can do that.
What do you make of the case in general? The fact that she, according to the detectives, had her foot down all the way on the gas pedal for the full 5.
And here's the thing with toxic women, narcissistic women, even some borderline women, they'll cry to kind of manipulate people's perception of them. They'll do a little woe's me, more of a victim routine. And it's a way to try to avoid responsibility avoidance. So, and again, it can work. like turning on the waterworks on demand. It's a manipulative tactic that can work sometimes. They usually pull it out on dudes because I think other women will recognize it for what it is. But with guys, they're usually not able to see it. But another woman would say, oh yeah, I see what you're doing. You're out of control. But a guy, they can be a little more manipulated by those tears sometimes. In my experience, that's what I've seen.
Seconds before they slammed into the wall, was going 100 miles per hour. No issue with the car. They have like a black box they can see. No pushing the brake, just gas pedal all the way down.
All of what you just said would have gotten me just below proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't know that personally or legally, I would think that that's enough. What got me to proof beyond a reasonable doubt, one thing that wasn't even in the documentary that I found in another documentary, was when they first went in to interview her while she's in the hospital. She then says to the detective in a recorded conversation, "Can I speak to my mom for a second?" And then in some pig Latin language, it wasn't actually pig Latin, but some version of it, you hear her going, "I'm le longi longi boing," talking to her mother like that.
Yeah.
And what it was translated to was, could we just tell him, let's just tell him that I had a seizure or that I passed out or something like that. She also offered her license for 10 years.
What was that all about, B? What was that language they were speaking? Is that like a secret language they had together? Or was there some real language they were speaking? What was it?
I just give my license for 10 years? Someone who isn't responsible for this tragic crime wouldn't say something like that. That got me over the hump, and the fact that the road was curved and that if she had passed out, she wouldn't have been able to negotiate all the way on that road where she was going up to 100 miles an hour and then slams into the brick building.
Her argument, which I read or in the appeal, that the lawyer, what is ineffective use of counsel? Is that what the legal term is?
Ineffective assistance of counsel, which is required under the Strickland case by the Supreme
They're
Court.
claiming, that the lawyer didn't even present any experts to discuss her medical condition. That does seem strange, doesn't it? I'm just thinking from the trials I've covered, there's always experts when someone has a medical condition.
Yes, my guess is they could have found someone, but he would have came into court and he would have had a...
So B, my question would be then, how did they learn it? How did they both learn that pig Latin? Where did they learn it from?
Big flower, big red shiny shoes, and he would have a big red nose, and the flower would shoot water on the judge if he's going to say, she wasn't responsible. No one could say that. No one in this instance, based upon the facts, could credibly say that in front of a professional judge. Do you understand? We are constantly being Monday morning quarterbacked, trial lawyers are. Oh, we could have done this, we should have done this. But you know what? You make judgment calls, and that doesn't mean it's ineffective assistance of counsel.
Yeah, that's interesting what you say. I guess I was thinking of it through the lens of a jury, because you see these experts try to convince a jury, but it's a different vibe with the judge. If you've got some kind of Looney Tune expert, the judge she's gonna see right through it.
Still, any rookie cross-examiner could question an expert and say, okay, you have no idea if that's what caused this thing. No, you're correct. All you know is what they've told you. Yeah, that's correct. You've never treated her? No, I didn't. You didn't. I mean, the cross-examination, that person would be eviscerated. First of all, because it's not true. She didn't suffer from the passing out during the time period. That didn't happen. But if you put an expert up there, they would talk in theory about how, which I think the judge accepted, how that particular condition that the mother claimed she had could happen at some point. Okay, great. It didn't happen in that instance, though, and I don't think anybody could tell the judge otherwise.
Do you think the sentence was fair? It was like 2 15-year sentences.
I don't think it was unfair. I was surprised the judge didn't do the life with 30, right? That's what the victims wanted. It's in the judge's discretion. I didn't hear from everybody who testified. She still could be in there for life. Doesn't mean she's getting out in 15. Just means that's when she'll do a minimum of 15, then start being eligible for parole. I don't know that a parole board is going to let her out after that period of time. So she very well may be spending decades in there.
Do you think there's any chance she gets another trial?
It's like Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, there's always a chance. I think it's
this guy's worth a chuckle for the chuckle hunt. So you're saying there's a chance?
Extremely low and remote based upon what I saw. That attorney did a fine job. He zealously cross-examined witnesses. He presented testimony the way that he thought was appropriate, and she came in second place. That happens. That's the nature of trial work. It doesn't mean he didn't do a good job and she didn't get a fair trial. She did, and I don't think that the guilty verdict will be disturbed.
What you brought up, by the way, I saw the same thing you're talking about, where it is really strange. Like she's talking to the mom in another language. It's so strange.
Why didn't they put that in the documentary, Brian?
I don't
Tell me
know.
why?
I don't know.
Why? Why, if you're really looking for a fair and balanced documentary, why did you leave that out? That's huge.
Yeah. And it's I mean, from a documentary standpoint too, it's like kind of good TV. It's bizarre. You're kind of like, what the heck is going on here?
It made me think, what else did they leave out? And it's probably in their best interest to keep it like debatable. Is she guilty? Is she not? If you really just lay it all out and it's so clear, maybe we don't talk about it as much. Maybe they don't get the buzz, and maybe it doesn't hit their wallets the way they want it to. I don't like that. That should have been in the documentary.
And just lastly, what about the fact that she was 17? This started out in the juvenile court and then got moved to adult court. And it sounded like when it was in the juvenile stage, they didn't think there was enough evidence for like a murder charge. Do you think that comes into play?
No, it doesn't. I think that when you're 17, you're right up there, right under adulthood. And I could have told you right away, they're moving that to adulthood. They're always free if they feel like it's too unfair to give someone adult sanctions. Prosecutors can bring you in the adult system and then give you juvenile sanctions if it's appropriate. It clearly wasn't in this instance. And what she could have gotten under the juvenile system would have been a slap on the wrist and inappropriate.
I mean, how fair, the relationship goes back years. There's all sorts of text messages. How fair is it to bring in evidence from well before?
I think it's extremely fair. I think the prosecutor's point was that this was a very volatile relationship, that over a period of time, it evolved to something where it became violent at times, it became antagonistic, and that ultimately that led to her boyfriend saying, "We're done." And then that led to her thought process on that day. Well, if I can't have you, then nobody can, which is pretty much what I got as the underlying theme of this whole thing. So I think it was very relevant, and it was up to the trier of fact, in this case, the judge, to give it whatever weight the judge wanted to give it.
Do you think that the documentary has any impact on any of this? I mean, because, sometimes it's like in the top 10. Will that impact the Supreme Court decision? Does the public, being involved now matter?
It shouldn't matter to intellectual, professional judges deciding this case on the merits and the law that applies. That said, all these judges don't live under a rock. They watch things, they get Netflix, they see the top shows, some of them do. So it could potentially impact them, as other shows have. I hope it doesn't. I think that we're all counting on them to make a wise and legal decision. And based upon that, I think she should be afforded an appeal. Missing it by a day shouldn't really dictate whether she gets justice or not. I think that hopefully they hear her appeal and then they deny it.
As always, I really appreciate Mark for taking the time to talk with me. This is a crazy story, an awful story, a sad story. The documentary was pretty good on Netflix. And kind of, again, I had covered this back in 2023, but I'd kind of moved on from some of it. So it's interesting. I hadn't updated myself with the whole situation with the appeal until I sort of dug into it today. So that's sort of the latest. I'll keep an eye on it. We'll see which way the Ohio State Supreme Court rules in terms of whether, she should get a chance at an appeal, because even though she technically missed the deadline, I'll let you guys know how that turns out. Appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys for subscribing.
So make sure you check out Brian Etten's channel there. We got one more to watch from him too, the one from today. Jail Insider says Mackenzie Shirilla not remorseful. Let's see about that.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. Really.
Also, please remember to like the video because likes are free. We got to at least get to 100 likes out there, I say. Shadow thinks so too. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Make sure you tell a friend or 5 about the channel here in the flock of black sheep. Look at Brian in his spot by the railroad tracks. And as always, super chats, super stickers, and becoming a channel member, great ways to support the channel. Becoming a member gives you access to the members-only live streams. The rest of it helps me pay for Shadow the Night Owl's soy-free hoodie snacks. And I usually go live, it's been a little later the last few days, but between 10 and 10:30 p.m. Eastern to talk about true crime, current events, and psychology. So that's when I'll be around. And sometimes I do some surprise streams too.
I appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. I really, really appreciate all of the support for my channel. In this episode, I'm continuing to dig into this situation with Mackenzie Shirilla. Just an awful, awful story. I've been covering it since 2023 or so, but a lot of people are talking about it now because of the Netflix documentary, The Crash. She is, of course, she was the teenager accused of, driving into a brick wall and intentionally killing her boyfriend and their mutual friend. I mean, it's terrible.
Look at that thing. Out of control.
Terrible. Well, in this episode, I am talking to a woman who was in jail, who was behind bars with Mackenzie, who is not a fan of hers, says that she was not remorseful, that she had a face full of makeup, and basically just says she didn't seem sorry at all about what she did, what she's accused of doing. And she, of course, there was a guilty plea there. She's guilty of murder. So I'm going to dig into it. I'm going to talk to this woman in detail, who was in jail with Mackenzie, and you'll hear all of it in this episode of Brian Enton Investigates. Hey guys, so it's Friday. Hope everybody's about to have a good holiday weekend. A lot of you are talking about this Mackenzie Shirilla story, the documentary, again, that's out, the Crash. A lot of people didn't know about it, which is interesting because it's sort of been on my radar for a while. I covered the story right after Mackenzie was sentenced back in, I think it was 2023, I believe. Again, I'm going to get to in a second my in-depth interview with the woman who was in jail with Mackenzie and has a lot to say about her. But first, let me just give you a little bit of the backstory for those of you who don't know much about the situation. Basically, Mackenzie was the driver of a crash in 2022 in Ohio. She survived, but her boyfriend, Dominic Rousseau, and their mutual friend, Davian Flanagan, they were both killed. She was convicted of murder and other charges after investigators say she deliberately drove 100 miles an hour into a brick wall. I mean, it was terrible. The pictures from the crash are absolutely terrible. The car is totally mangled. There's body camera video where, I mean, it was a really, really bad crash. And from pretty early on, investigators say it just didn't look much like an accident. The investigation showed that in the 5 seconds before Mackenzie hit the wall, there was no attempt to hit the brakes, and instead the accelerator was pushed down all the way to the floor. And investigators say that it was intentional, and that Mackenzie and Dominic had a volatile relationship. And ultimately, she was convicted of murder. There was a trial. It wasn't a jury trial, which was kind of interesting. It was a judge. There was a trial, but the judge made the decision, and she was convicted of murder, among other charges, sentenced to two sentences of 15 years. The judge agreed with the prosecution that she did this on purpose, that she pushed the gas pedal all the way down, slammed into the wall, killing her boyfriend and their mutual friend. There's a black box inside the car where they can go back and look at the data and see, did she try to hit the brake? What was going on with all the maneuvering? And basically the gas pedal was pushed all the way down. So that was enough, among some of the other evidence, text messages, etc., to convince the judge to go with the guilty verdict. So I want to talk to Kat Crowder. She is someone who was in jail with Mackenzie. A lot of the questions here are about, did she show remorse? Is she actually sorry for what happened? Of course, she came across one way in the Netflix documentary. I mean, who wouldn't want to come across remorseful in a Netflix documentary? But is she actually remorseful? I want to talk to Kat about that. Again, someone who actually saw her in jail, has some perspective, and see what she has to say about it. Kat, thank you for talking with me. I really, really appreciate it. I just kind of wanted to start with, I know you were behind bars with Mackenzie. Just kind of tell me the story of how you ended up in that situation, how you ended up in jail.
Yeah, so in 2019, I, was struggling with kind of like self-worth and finding my place in the world, and therefore I was making a lot of poor choices. I was hanging around people who were kind of in the same mindset, and I ended up getting into a situation where I was on the way to Detroit from Nashville with some peers who didn't have great intentions, and the police attempted to pull me over, and I made the really impulsive and careless decision to not stop. So I took the police on a high-speed chase, and I later got sentenced to prison for 18 months. And it was for failure to comply with police signal or officer in the 3rd degree.
Yeah, no, but I always have flash. Did you see flashing a little bit?
Yeah, it's messing up. This is why I was struggling.
No, it's okay.
I'm trying to fix it. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, Kat. Don't worry. There you go. I think it's fixed now.
Sorry.
No, it's good. So you were saying, what were you charged with?
So I was charged with failure to comply with police signal or order in the 3rd degree, which essentially is the same as fleeing and eluding. That's just how Ohio chooses to phrase it. And I spent 18 months. Well, I was sentenced to 18 months, and I did 6, almost 7 of that in prison, and the rest in a halfway house in Ohio.
Okay. So basically, was it like a police chase?
Yes. So like I said, carelessly I chose not to pull over for the police. I was scared and very impulsive and reckless, and I've taken accountability for this. I'm still, I've done my time, but I'm still living with the consequences that resulted from that. And I regret it every single day, but I that night made the careless decision to take the police on a high-speed chase from Toledo area to Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah, you seem to have it together now. Like just talking to you, when you say you took the police on a chase, it's like kind of hard to imagine.
I know.
I don't mean to laugh, but you know what I mean. It's like you don't seem like that at all.
I get that response a lot.
Hey guys, I want to introduce you to the sponsor of today's episode, Incogni, identity theft. It is such a big issue. I am always so paranoid every time I get a credit alert. I've had several family members and friends have their identities.
I think that's my biggest thing is just people have such this stigma with those who've made poor choices or gone to prison and gotten in trouble in the past. And they just kind of have this like picture painted in their mind of what that looks like. And at the end of the day, like regardless, I made that really stupid decision. But even then in my like broken mind, I still knew the difference between right and wrong. I just chose wrong. And now like me going to prison, because I'm a mother now. I had my daughter at that time. She was 6 weeks old when I got arrested. And that for me was like 100% what it took for me to be like, oh, I'm going down this very dangerous road, and I can't do this to myself, and I can't do this to my daughter. I don't ever want to feel this way again. So my life looks completely different than it did before. I look back.
I say you never would have thought she did some time, huh? This goes to show you can't always judge by the book by its cover.
At that person, I don't even recognize her, but everybody, that's majority of the people are like, oh, you went to prison, like jail. And I'm like, yeah, it happens, it's.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow wouldn't have thought it either, but perhaps when you dig a little, you'd find a little, but just on first glance, you wouldn't think so. Look at Brian Etten here. He's like a concerned father.
It's part of life. Poor choices result in consequences.
Yeah, and everybody makes mistakes. I think it's like how you kind of come out of it. And like you said, I guess maybe you just needed to kind of hit rock bottom to snap out, I guess,
100%.
So anyway, when you were in prison, when did you first see Mackenzie? How did that all come about?
So when you go to prison, you're in admissions for roughly 30 days, and then you pop out, which means like you go to general population. And that was already so like anxiety. I was full of anxiety because I'm like, oh, is it going to be like the movies? And I walk out and it's just a massive like yard. You have the prison yard with like a track and all those things. And I saw Mackenzie probably day 1 or day 2 because she's kind of hard to miss. And it was kind of the same reaction that you just had when I was talking about going to prison. You go, why is she here? She does not look like somebody that you would typically think would be in prison. She's young, she's very put together, and very quickly I found out why she was here. It took no time. Word gets around very quickly in that behind those walls, and I was just completely floored when I found out why she was there.
You mean like when you heard the full story?
Yes. Yeah.
What was she like? Like what did you think when you first saw her, and what was that like? Was she
So does Mackenzie like on the prison yard, according to Blondie here? Let's hear.
outside, or what was that like?
Yeah, so Mackenzie was outside every day. That's because me and her were in different units. Our units were probably like 20 feet away from each other. But she was in the lifers dorm, which is called Wheeler. And but we had 3 yards throughout the day. So she would come out each yard, and I would too, because it was just something to do. And the first week I was kind of like, oh, she's got her makeup on every day. She's very put together. She's so young. And I was like, oh, she's a pretty girl. She's, I don't get how this is. I'm looking at this person and y'all are telling me she did this. It just seems like 2 totally different people. Doesn't seem like you're explaining anybody that could be this person right here.
Did she have a lot of makeup on?
Every day. She never failed. It was almost as if she was going to like the mall with her friends or going out to like dinner or something. And I think that was one of the craziest parts, because I'm like, how are you getting yourself out of bed or your bunk to do your makeup every single day? And she would have like gems in her hair, and her hair would be curled or flat ironed and done, and her clothes would be altered, and she would be, laughing. And I'm like, I can't imagine.
I wondered the same thing, Snoop. I wonder how they're getting makeup. I wonder if they have makeup in the commissary for women. I mean, whatever Corey Richards had, I don't think Corey Richards had much makeup on. So it's interesting that she was able to.
Being that young and then spending 15 years to possibly the rest of my life in prison, and being able to get myself out of bed and get myself together and to go nowhere. She had a ton of makeup, a ton of accessories, all the newest shoes that you were able to order. She was very well kept within prison.
So you're able to have makeup?
Yes. So we have commissary, and it's kind of like a little, I don't want to say like gift shop, but you go and twice a month, and you're able to they have some makeup on there, but then your family and your loved ones are able to order you makeup, like drugstore makeup, good hygiene. So like Dove or the brands that we know, shoes like Nike shoes, Adidas, all of that through these third-party vendors called Access, Union Supply, Walk-in Horse, and they get sent in, and they're expensive. They cost a lot more than if you were to go buy it in the free world. So she always had a ton of makeup. I mean, for her to have it on every single day, she had to have a lot. Again, I wasn't in this like cell with her. I know a lot of people have put out that I was her cellmate. We didn't even have cells at the prison I was at. It was open bay. So it was just a bunch of bunks in one room. But she had to. I know there was one time, one of the very few conversations I had with her was about, she made jewelry out of like wires and this art kit that she had gotten from one of the boxes. And she was customizing shoes for people and like distressing baseball caps. And so in order for her to be able to do all of that, her family or whoever has bought her a sewing kit, art kits, makeup, all the newest shoes, all the considered good, active wear that we're able to get. So she's definitely getting a lot of things in.
So when you talked to her, what was the vibe? Because I've heard you say you didn't think she was remorseful.
No, I mean, and I just want to preface, I don't expect somebody, I know that she's making, I don't know what's going on through her mind. I'm not a mind reader by any means, but from my perspective, as with a few conversations that I've with how I observed her, she acted in a way that was like she's not in prison. It's almost like she detached from reality or something and was treating it as if it was a high school or a college campus, or
Dissociating, maybe?
I just never saw her shed a tear. She was always very happy-go-lucky and good spirits, laughing, smiling, hanging out with her friends, walking the track, going to the gym, getting together, networking with her little side.
Networking. That is what happens, though. People meet the wrong people in prison. They go to crime school, as Johnny Depp would say in Blow. But, happy-go-lucky girl that's going to prison for 15 to life. Which makes you think it's more of a performative act when she's in court crying, if that's how she is when she's there. That's what it seems like, Shadow. Shadow says yes, it does.
Business or whatever you would like to call it. She just did not portray somebody who had on her mind that she was serving life sentences for murdering 2 people.
When you say networking side business, what do you mean?
So she, like I was saying, with the jewelry and the customizing the shoes and altering clothes, hemming clothes to make them fit tighter to people and things of that sort. That was kind of considered her side hustle or her prison hustle, which for people who are serving a lot of time, that's common for them to find something, I guess you could say capitalize off of or make money off of. And when I had that conversation, I was with another one of the girls that was in there. We were talking to her about, this jewelry that she was making. And she was telling me how she made it. Oh, I'll go make it. You can send it to send the money to this Cash App. And the Cash App was her mother's Cash App. And at the time, I'm inside. I don't know anything about her case or her family. I just know what I'm hearing, which is very limited. I didn't realize to the extent of how much her family enabled her before prison. And so now that I look back at that, I'm like, oh, so her mom is helping her, because that's technically not allowed in prison either. Using Cash App and things of that sort. It's a ticket. You could get written up for that. So even then, her mom was still, helping, because she said, I'm going to go back and call my mom and see if she got the money or whatever for the nose ring. So it's just wild.
So I'm just trying to understand. So if another prisoner wanted something, she would say Cash App my mom. But they didn't have Cash App, did they?
So not in prison. So
but they would tell someone else?
So hypothetically speaking, say I'm selling a t-shirt to you and we're in prison and I tell you, you can send it to this Cash App. So you're going to go call whoever you have on the outside and say, hey, can you Cash App this amount of money to this person for me? And then they're going to I'm going to go call my family or whoever's running the Cash App and say, did you receive this? And they're going to tell me yes or no. And then that's going to be confirmation whether I give you whatever you bought or whatever,
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. So was she well liked, would you say?
I wouldn't say she was well liked, but I would say that she was well known. Her case, if you were to ask anybody other than maybe the very few people I was close to in there, what I was in there for, they would not be able to tell you. I would say 90% of the people would be able to tell you what Mackenzie was in prison for. It was the beginning of her sentence when I was there with her. So the first year of her sentence. And she honestly like kind of kept to herself and her few friends at that time, they came off as similar to her. So makeup done every day, very girly, very they were young like her. And towards the end of my sentence, she started hanging around more of the people serving the life sentences, which have a little more, how do I say, like cred in prison. It's just like a unsaid level of respect for people who are doing life sentences because they're going to be there. Nobody's going to jeopardize their time when they have a year to do for somebody who's got nothing to lose the rest of their life. So people kind of just weren't really fazed. I mean, a lot of people are just, in there trying to do their time and get out.
Mm. So when she hung with the people that were there for life sentences, like when you say cred, what do you mean? Like, explain that a little more.
Almost like more known, more, I could say protected, but the prison that she's at and that I was at it's not a very violent prison. So you don't really worry about those kind of things, but the lifers are able to get more, privileges almost, which is crazy to think about. But say it's something, they're closer with the COs or the staff that works there because they've known them, they've been there for a long time, so they're a little bit more lenient or lax with them, or they know their ways around a little bit more, so you're able to get this out of the classroom or this, or just able to maneuver a little bit better around the prison.
Okay. And so she started hanging out with those kinds of people more. Are they older
Yes.
typically or not necessarily?
It kind of varies. She tended to stay with the ones that were younger. There are a lot that are older. There's roughly like 2,500 to 3,000 people in the prison, which sounds like a ton, and it is a ton. But in a confined, small place, you see the same people over and over, day to day. And a lot of people don't come out, or they stay in their little confined area, so you never see them. So it's constantly the same people. And she usually was veered more towards the younger people, so maybe like early 20s, mid 20s.
Did she did she have any romantic relationships that you know about?
So when I was there, again, Mackenzie kept her head down, was not getting in any trouble or anything of the sorts. Towards the end, I saw her walking around with like 2 large hickeys on her neck. So, and that's again when she was starting to hang around more of the lifers, more of the people who had a little bit more free reign. And I don't know who that was with. Now, there's been like 2 women on TikTok. One of them I've interviewed like a year ago that were in intimate relationships. And since then, her disciplinary reports have came out, and she's been getting in trouble for, sexual conduct and things of that sort. So she's definitely in there getting involved with women on that aspect.
Is that like common when you're in prison? Like even if you were with men on the outside, that, I guess just because you have no
What do you think, Brian Etten? What do you think?
one else kind of thing?
Yeah, I never partook in that, but people who
That's what they all say. They all say that on the way out when they're out, but on the inside, different story.
Especially the ones that are there for a long time, they definitely, it's very common. And it's the biggest thing that the women do argue about, or do get in fights about, or do, have drama or get in trouble for, because it's not allowed. But majority of everyone is partaking in that.
Really? So it's
Very
common.
Yeah.
Majority everyone, except for her, Shadow wanted to add. Everyone except for her. Shadow says, take a picture. That's her lie face.
Wow. What did you see the documentary on Netflix?
I
What
did.
did you think? I mean, because you actually saw her, talked to her, had interactions with her in prison. Like, what's your take?
When Mackenzie walked out, which I had no idea, just like the rest of us, that she was going to be in the documentary. I just thought it was going to be covering the case. So when she walked out, I was absolutely taken back. I had to rewind it like 5 times because when I saw her, I was like, who is this? This is not anybody that I've ever seen. From the way that she looked to like her demeanor, 100% different than the person I was in there with. It almost came off as if she was trying to portray like this tough girl act in the documentary, very smug, very dark, almost like just very strange. Because when I was in there with her, she was very like bright and girly.
What I'm saying is, if she's saying everyone partakes and she's going to say, oh, I'm the only one who didn't, a little bit skeptical of the claim, I would say.
And colorful and just very, and the girl that was in this documentary was like hard-edged, tough, just not anything. Even her voice was different. She did not talk like
So Mackenzie's documentary is called The Crash.
Like that when I was in prison with her. She talked like a valley girl, like a young girl from the suburbs. And this voice and this girl just, and I'm not saying maybe prison has changed her. It's been,
say she from the hood, but she really from Central Valley?
A while since I've been there. And that happens. People tend to get institutionalized, and I understand conforming to your surroundings to survive. But in Ohio Reformatory for Women, you do not. It's not like the movies where you need to do that. So I think she's just basically trying to get in where she fits in.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I thought this, I mean, I didn't know what she was like before, but she came across like tough, like almost a little gangstery, like a little bit of that vibe,
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't like that at all?
Not at all. I mean, she was, and I've said this on the news, the live news that I did, where I said that she was equivalent to Regina George. I mean, it was very girly, not like, it was more, if she was going to be considered mean, it was in a way that was going to talk about somebody like, oh, do you see what she's wearing, or she needs to lose a few pounds, compared to, catch me outside, or I'll handle that, the image that she was trying to portray in the documentary. Nobody was ever afraid of Mackenzie, or thought that she was capable of doing something.
I mean, why would they? She's like nothing. She's like 100 pounds, if that, right? So it's not going to be like as scary. I mean, take her out of the vehicle and she doesn't have a gun or like a weapon of sorts. Why would someone be scared of her?
That she was this big.
Now, I say that, but on the outside, romantically speaking, guys should be very skeptical of her. Now, chances are that situation will never come up again. But if it were to, that would be something for people to pay attention to.
Hard gangster.
Yeah, that's so interesting. But like based on, and I'm just curious your opinion, because you've interacted with her, you've been in the prison, you've seen her, you've talked to her. There's this debate like, did she do it on purpose or not? I mean, do you have a feeling about it?
I have a theory, and again, this is all just my opinion. I don't know. I wasn't in there. I wasn't in the vehicle that night. None of us were. And like with all the evidence that's came out, I think it's kind of hard to say that she did not do it on purpose. I know a lot of people say, well, they forgot to leave out that she went down this route 7 times prior, or that she never went down, or that she had threatened this before. I don't think that evening or a week in advance, she said, on this night, I'm gonna run my vehicle into a car. I think what happened is something happened at that house before they left. And whatever it was is what resulted in them leaving early in the morning. Some kind of argument, either Dominic was leaving her, or Mackenzie found something out about Dominic, or they got into some argument, and Davion, sensed that something was going wrong. He wanted to be there for his friend. He wanted to make sure everything went smoothly to the best of his ability. And so he went in the car with them. And I think he thought, maybe Davion thought that he could de-escalate the situation. And unfortunately he didn't. And I think it just kept getting more heated during that drive. And she made that split-second decision. I don't believe that either she thought that none of them were going to survive, or maybe she didn't realize that any of them were going to pass, that she just thought everyone was going to get shaken up or a little injured. But that's just my theory. That's all, just speculation from me. Again, I don't know. None of us will. I don't know if we ever will really know. I wish that she could come to her senses and, at least give the victims' families some closure, because I think they deserve that. I think that she 100% remembers what happened that night. I think that she'll continue pushing that until it clicks in her mind, like, oh, I'm not going to get out anytime soon, because she walked around that prison like she was going to get out. We've heard some of the phone calls where she is still thinking, oh, I just have to be here for another year fighting this or doing this appeal, and then the appeal gets denied. So I don't know. It's a lot.
Maybe that's a coping mechanism, like knowing you're going to be there for so long, just you have to think something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe for her, I don't know, because I was incarcerated with others that they just accept it. I was incarcerated with a girl very same age when she was sentenced to 27 years in prison, and she knew from when she was fighting her case on, she knew, I'm going to be sitting down for a while. I need to figure out how I'm going to survive once I get in there, of course she was sad, and she cried every day for the victim, for everything that happened. And I've spoke on that a little, because I think that's the biggest thing for me, where I'm like, I saw none of that from Mackenzie, and I've seen people show remorse. And this girl was just driving the vehicle when somebody else in the car did.
Again, it's a bit of a jump to conclusions. When someone's crying in jail, it doesn't always mean they're crying for the victim. It could also mean self-pity and crying that they're being held accountable for their actions and what's going on in the circumstance of their life. So I'd be skeptical of that too.
Something. So she wasn't even like the sole perpetrator in doing what sent her to 27 years. So for Mackenzie, So for Mackenzie to have driven into this wall and been, the person that caused this and not even shed a tear, it's almost like she believes her own lies and delusions.
When you're in prison,
here's the other thing though, unless you're in the same bunk as them, you don't know what they're doing at night. They can cry themselves to sleep for all you know. But in the yard, they're all about their image. That means something there. Now, granted, a women's prison is a little different than a man's prison for sure. But I don't know. You can't make some of these conclusions that she's drawing here.
I'm just thinking about it. Like you're with people who committed bad crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Do you know what they did? Or is it how do you know who to stay away from? Or is it once you're in there, you start over fresh, kind of with people? How does that work?
So one of the things that you learn very quickly when you get into prison, before you even get into general population, is that you don't ask people what they're there for multiple reasons. One, because or you could cause problems with somebody, it's kind of just considered disrespectful. 2, because you could get really close to somebody before knowing what they did, and then you'll never be able to look at them the same again. And it's just like, you're not, like I said, so you're not supposed to ask, but if it's a big high profile case, or if it's something really drastic, like child crimes, you find people tell you that. We have on our jail issued tablets the law library, and you can look up cases, so people can look you up, or a lot of people will call their families and say, oh, can you look up why this person is here? Can you look up why so-and-so is here? And they'll tell you, and it's just, I mean, again, I think people have this image that when you go to prison, if you did this or if you did this, you're gonna get beat up, or somebody's gonna do something to you. And I don't want to say unfortunately, but women's prison is not like that. So I was under the impression with the people that did child crimes would have a really hard time. Things that they've done, things to children, would have a terrible time. And they were more protected and more, held up there than anybody else in the prison, surprisingly.
Interesting. Well, I appreciate the info, Kat. Is there anything else I left out you think is important with Mackenzie?
I think it's important to just remember, the victims' families out of all of this, because I know this is bringing a ton back up for them. Every time it kind of dies down, something happens to bring it right back up, and they're having to relive that all again. I've spoke to Christine Russo a couple times, Dominic's sister, and she's really, she's glad the truth is being exposed on what's really happening, and she's continuing to try and get justice for her brother and Davion. So I think just remembering there were, victims involved and victims' families involved is really important.
Well, thank you, Kat. I hope everything continues to go on the up and up for you in your life.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
Really appreciate Kat for taking the time to talk with me. Interesting perspective of what Mackenzie was like in jail. And, again, with the Netflix doc, of course, and I know this from my job when I interview people, people are going to put on a certain persona and era when they are interviewed on TV. I mean, that's just how it works. They want to come across a certain way. So it's interesting to get Kat's perspective, who actually knew her when she wasn't on camera, when she didn't know people were looking, when she didn't know she was being judged.
That's what I said too, isn't it? So again, the version we see, I think, of Mackenzie is the teary-eyed, trying to be manipulative version. But we hear when she's talking to the dude's mom, her boyfriend's mom, we hear a different version then, hear a different version with her parents. So I'd be skeptical.
Jail, what did she really act like? It's interesting. There's been a lot of people talking to about what was in the documentary, what was left out of the documentary. Yesterday, I interviewed Mark Eiglarsh, if you go back and look at my episode yesterday. And it was interesting what he said. He believes that these documentaries, they purposely don't want to make someone look too bad because it makes the documentary less interesting. You want people to have sort of that mystery of, are they good or are they bad? If you go too much in one direction, he believes it makes it a less catchy show. So is that the reason some things that were kept out of the documentary? I don't know. I mean, there's also a time constraint. Obviously, I know that from the stories I do. You can't get everything in all the time. So just kind of interesting to think about. A quick recap too from my video yesterday, and you can go back and watch the full thing, but there's been a lot of questions about, will she get an appeal? Will she get another trial? Gets complicated, but she's now pointing fingers at her lawyer. Basically, her first appeal with the Court of Appeals was rejected and her conviction was upheld. She then filed a second appeal. I had to take notes on this because it's complicated and there's a timeline. So she filed the second appeal, and it was rejected because it was filed 1 day late. So there's a rule.
And we heard that. That's absurd. Now, I'm no fan of Mackenzie, but that's still absurd that that's what happened. That the lawyer is going to file 1 day late. I mean, that lawyer should be ashamed of themselves, and everyone should know that when you hire that person as a lawyer. Oh, yeah, I filed 1 day late. The most important or not the most important, I should say, but the most popular person on my caseload, I filed one day late. Like, give me a break.
You have to file it within a year. It's a year-long filing period, and she was one day late. So she's now appealed to the Ohio Supreme Court, trying to get them to accept the appeal, saying, look, it was one day late. It's really, I guess, sorry, there's a motorcycle going by. It's technically, her lawyer's fault, obviously. It's not like she's the one who actually filed the appeal. So it was one day late. Is that a reason that they should not look into her appeal? Something now the Ohio State Supreme Court is going to have to look into. But the appeal essentially goes back to the trial where she's saying essentially her lawyer did not do a good job, didn't get an expert, didn't go into enough detail about her medical condition, and didn't go into all of the text messages. And so she's basically saying her lawyer didn't do a good job, and that's one of the reasons that she should get this appeal. Mark yesterday made a good point, though. When it's not a jury trial, when it's a judge trial, a judge making the decision, you go at that differently than you would if it was a jury trial. So just in terms of what experts you would have and that kind of thing, you guys can listen to that from yesterday if you're interested. So that's really the latest. Again, just a terrible, terrible case. My heart goes out to the families of the two young men who were killed. Appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys for supporting my channel and subscribing. And I'll keep you guys posted if there are any developments with the appeal. Working on a couple of other things. I'm still working on some Nancy Guthrie stories, and I'll get into all of that next week.
All right. Got a News Nation thing to go over. This might be the last one of the night. Because like I said, now that every channel isn't talking about Nancy every night, now the topics are diffused. So we went over a little bit of this. The text to the mother, we went over that.
Even if you hadn't had a chance to check out the new Netflix documentary, The Crash, you've probably seen some of the reactions on social media, right? People are absolutely ripping the doc star Mackenzie Shirilla for her behavior after causing the deadly high-speed crash that killed her boyfriend, 20-year-old Dominic Russo, and his friend, 19-year-old Davian Flanagan. Now, Mackenzie, who was just 17 when she drove that car into a brick wall, was found guilty of murder in 2022 after police revealed the accelerator on her 2018 Toyota Camry was at 100% in the seconds before the crash. And some viewers are saying that Mackenzie's remorse in the doc was all just for show.
I'm not saying I'm innocent. I was a driver of a tragedy, but I'm not a murderer.
Now, as proof, they're pointing to a TikTok.
She looks even more psychopathic in this than she looked in the beginning. Let's watch that again. Shadow says, freeze.
I'm not saying I'm
Look at her.
innocent. I was a driver of a tragedy, but I'm not a murderer.
I'm a driver of a tragedy, but I'm not a murderer. I wonder who orchestrated this entire documentary. I was originally thinking, what, did their parents set it up? But if her dad didn't even like it, it makes me think they didn't set it up. So who orchestrated this? B, do you have the answers for this? Who orchestrated this documentary for her? Or they just said, oh, this girl's a cute girl that's got 15 to life, so it'll be a popular story. That's honestly, Shadow says that's all it takes, really. That's all it takes to be a popular story. And considering it's all about the Benjamins, they thought, yeah, people will click. People will click. If you ever seen Field of Dreams, people will come, Ray. Instead, Shadow says, People will click, Jared. People will click. All you have to do is seek attention, sometimes be negative, have some clickbait, put an attractive person in the thumbnail, and people will click. Add some drama and some true crime. Holy mackerel. That's what the narcissism content does too, by the way. Narcissism content can also be helpful. I try to make the true crime content helpful too, which I think I do, given the unique insights.
Now, as proof, they're pointing to a TikTok video that she posted months after the crash in which she dressed up like a corpse on Halloween. And that's on top of all the videos she put up showing alleged reckless driving and drug use. But Mackenzie and her parents have maintained she's innocent, that the crash was caused by Mackenzie's POTS diagnosis, POTS being a blood pressure disorder that can cause dizziness and fatigue, particularly when someone goes from lying down to standing up. And speaking of Mackenzie's parents, they've been caught up in this whole backlash too, because Mackenzie's mom, Natalie Shirilla, has drawn fire.
It is a good movie, Rooster. And as B says, if we film it, they will come. That's what Shadow said to me as well. And it's true.
Her arguably bizarre victim impact statement where she said that her daughter needed, quote, a second of fun after the accident. And new video of Natalie speaking to Mackenzie in her new home at the Ohio Reformatory for Women back in 2023. It's raising even more questions about the family because the argument is they're talking like some kind of...
Now look at that car. That car looks much different than the mangled version of the car we saw before, right? That's what I was pointing out.
Coded, strange, gibberish language. Take a listen.
Yes, please tell them I don't want to be on protective custody. Please tell them that. I am.
Okay,
I'm not
just
caused a
keep that
single
in
problem
mind.
since I've been here.
I know you haven't. I'm talking about in general overall.
Yeah, so is the Mackenzie Shirilla millions watched in that Netflix doc actually putting on an act?
Look at those eyes. They say the eyes are the window to the soul. And she's got the 1,000-mile stare. Or in inappropriate terms, the 1,000-sea stare, if you know what that means. But dead eyes. That's what you see there. Dead. Dead eyes. No light. No nothing. Not good. That's the definition of dead eyes, though.
I'll tell you what, Kat Crowder sure thinks so. She served 6 months with Mackenzie in that women's prison, and she says the girl she knew behind bars is nothing like the remorseful inmate seen in the doc. Joining me now is social media influencer Kat Crowder. Thank you so much for taking the time. Why do you believe that?
Thank you for having me. I
don't think this is the same girl that we were just listening to, but it might be.
Mackenzie first walked out in the documentary, my jaw was dropped because that was not the person that I saw in prison when I was with her.
I guess this is her just with different makeup and sounds different.
She walked around in a very light demeanor, if that makes sense. So lots of laughing, lots of giggling, you know, makeup done every day. It was never this dark, smug, tough girl act that was in this video, trying to portray some sort of remorse. I never, you know, I don't know what somebody's thinking. I don't know what's going on in her head, but from my observations, there was never any, you know, behaviors that looked like somebody who was remorseful.
Did she ever talk about the crash? Did she ever talk about the victims in the case?
Not directly to me, but
So it's the same girl, but she looks completely different and she sounds completely different too.
Spoke to a few women since me being released and, you know, going on about her case, and they've came out and said that they had conversations with her and she informed them that it was not due to POTS, it was due to her being high. You know, there's a few different stories that she's had. One was that she had no idea, you know, she didn't remember, amnesia. So there's a few things that she circulated.
Did you ever see, talking about POTS, did you ever see any of those symptoms when you were with her, when you were around her?
Not once. She seems like a very healthy young girl. I mean, she was constantly on the yard. There were even times where we were in the middle of a heat wave and she was laying out with baby oil tanning in 100 degrees weather. She was very active, always walking. I never saw her get blood pressure.
She doesn't look like the type that can really even tan. She looks like the very white skin.
Pressure checks, routine, or emergency. I never saw her go to take any sort of medication. She seemed very healthy to me.
What did she talk about? Like, what did she say then? If she was, kind of like happy and optimistic.
Again, I wouldn't consider myself somebody who was friends with her.
Sure,
so
sure.
our conversations were very limited. I mean, we had two, and it was about things that she was making jewelry. She was making jewelry, customizing shoes for people, hats. But the people that were close to her that I have spoken to,
She just talked a little more like ditzy, like with Brian Etten, I guess. Somehow sounds more put together here.
She was just kind of thinking she was in high school. She was not focused on the fact that, she murdered two people. And
well, in one of your posts, you mentioned that Mackenzie used to have hickeys on her neck. What's going on there? How do you?
Yeah. So it's kind of normal. I don't want to say normal, but common for some of the women in there to form relationships, like intimate relationships. And towards the end of my sentence, before I was about to be released, I saw Mackenzie walking the track on the yard, and she did have large hickeys. And it's come out since then that she's had multiple girlfriends since being incarcerated, doing who knows what. So that just had to result from another one of those.
Was she a mean girl in the prison?
I do say that she wanted to be like Regina George. I mean, just the way that she did her makeup, the way that
Now, who is Regina George, though? Shadow and I might be behind the times. Who is Regina George?
It was like she was going out to a club or something, she thought she was going to be famous or photographed. She would wear her clothes altered so they would be form-fitting, and she would make fun of people who had less than she did because she was well taken care of inside prison. She is taken care of.
What do you think about all the reaction that she's getting, in the wake of this documentary?
I mean, like I said in my video, I think that the documentary was filmed in a way to make her and her family look a certain way and not in her favor. And I do think it's crazy, because she strives to be famous even before getting in trouble. And before all of this, she wanted to be an influencer and all of the things. And it's almost like she's kind of achieved that, but in a different manner of being infamous.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Look, it's so hard to judge, what somebody's acting like in prison, if they're putting on an act because who they're around, or, you're seeing the real Mackenzie. It's just very odd. So, Kat Crowder, thank you so much for sharing your observations with us about this. It's really an important story, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get...
I had a little sister, but she wasn't into those kinds of things that many other girls were. A little different. Our family marched to the beat of a different drum. How about that? So that was a quick video there. Where Tulsi Gabbard stepped down. You can see what Tony Brucey's up to. And if nothing, well, Dr. Grande did a whole thing about the video.
But there was one source of frustration. Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today, I will offer an update on the case of Mackenzie Shirilla. Her notorious crime is the topic of a documentary titled The Crash. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis.
We'll see. A prison call from Jumpsuit Pablo? I don't know. I'm actually getting close kind of to just doing my own content instead of watching others at a point. So, B, what do you mean a prison call? Mackenzie jail calls. That's where we are. Where are they?
Welcome back, everybody. No intro this time. Let's just dive right into these several
So this is from 8 months ago, by the way.
new released jail call recordings from Mackenzie Shirilla, probably complaining once again, but who knows? Let's see what we got today.
Somebody that's on that floor in there is it's responding like on the YouTube, or not YouTube, but on one of the pages about you. She's like, I just met her this week and she's so nice and there's no way that she did this intentionally. If Mimi's on there going off the rails for you.
Who, Mimi?
Uh-huh.
Who's Mimi?
She's like, you guys don't even know. I just was in juvie with her. She said everything.
Wait. You mean to tell me Mimi is going off the rails for me? Yes. Well, who the hell is Mimi? She don't even know her own family members.
Day crying all day long. There's no way. I can't even believe this. And you guys don't know her. Crying every day about him. That's all she could do all day and night and think, and she loved him and blah, blah, blah.
Tell Mimi to text me. Damn, so people are like coming out about this?
Yeah, do you have her info?
No,
Oh, yeah.
DM her.
Because nobody understands any of this, okay?
Yeah.
None of it.
Nobody, no.
So, I mean, obviously there's...
Nobody realizes how complicated it is when someone tells their boyfriend they're going to kill them by crashing their car into a wall, practices crashing, the route in which they will crash their car into a wall 7 times in a row, and then picks up their boyfriend and another friend and then crashes the car into a wall.
She looks a lot different here than she did in those court videos, doesn't she? Because that's what a couple of years in prison will do to you.
No one understands how complicated this is, Pumpkin.
people that are very ugly and they're like, yeah, she should cry and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But they don't know anything. Remember, we can't talk about anything either. So.
I know, that's what I keep saying in all these messages. Like, everyone's like, this is so sad. And I was like,
oh my God, and there's so many people saying she fucked with the Russo family. I don't even know why she bothered hiring a lawyer. She was fucked to begin with.
did you find a lawyer or anything yet?
Kenzie, I can't say anything on this phone. Don't worry. Things are in. Don't worry about anything.
Ma'am, I think you can inform her whether or not you found her an attorney to represent her on the phone call. Whoa, hold on now. You asking me about a lawyer? Hold on now.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Pablo here. She should be able to say that part. But it also speaks to what her mother has a guilty conscience of, I know I'm going to be saying things that would be getting you in trouble or I shouldn't be saying. Because, yeah, there's nowhere where they would say to you, you can't talk about getting a lawyer. They're never going to say that. It's one of the rights you have is the right to a lawyer. You have a right to an attorney.
Zip your lips there, Mackenzie. I can't talk about nothing on this phone. Ma'am, it literally will have no effect on this case as far as evidence and just like damning proof of guilt. If you hire a lawyer, honestly, that's a good thing. And honestly, if they hear that you've hired a lawyer, that might even work in your favor. Oh man, they're serious. They've got a big time lawyer working. Oh man, maybe we should consider a plea deal. I don't know. Maybe our case isn't strong enough. Things like that. Like, dude, shut up. Mommy, have you got me a lawyer? Hey, zip it. Shut it. We can't say anything on this call. They're listening. Okay.
Okay.
Just trust. But a lot of people are saying that she has friends in low places, and she was screwed from the beginning.
And, I forgot to tell you, on the news, what's his name was talking, Mike O'Malley, and I don't know why he was talking because he had nothing to do with my shit.
Why was he talking?
I don't know. In regarding me, I seen it on the news.
In regarding me.
It says wild they get access to the news, but they do. They can get access to TVs. You'd be surprised. Not all prisons are the same either, but you'd be surprised what they can get access to. I mean, you can get degrees, and Corey Richards just got a master's degree. For what? I don't know. In her head, she's probably thinking that she'll get a retrial and get it overturned. And honestly, and here's the thing about Corey. I think she's guilty, but a good lawyer might be able to create enough reasonable doubt there. So I think that's also true.
Ma'am, learn how to form an English proper sentence. Or should I say proper English sentence? See, I just formed an improper one myself. I guess I can't say anything.
That's interesting. And then guess what? There was a guy who was driving. He hit a fireman. Okay. The fireman died. He was just charged with murder, felonious assault, and vehicular homicide.
What, murder and vehicular homicide?
Yeah, and felonious assault. That's not murder.
In Strongsville?
No, not in Strongsville. But that's not.
Baby, I've been doing my due diligence and my research. I've looked up all the people who were driving and crashed into someone that killed them, and comparing that to your case. And so I don't understand why, ma'am. It's because she did this with premeditation. Obviously, Jesus.
Like, I'm like, what, 95% of murderers in prison are people that caused a car accident or had to do with a car accident? This is crazy.
I don't know why. I just feel like something about like me and this whole thing.
I don't know about that.
Like it's gonna be like, you know how you read about some like famous court cases in like school and stuff. I feel like my case is gonna be like that.
An eye opener.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, she's not wrong. This documentary greatly helped it too, though. Now, this was popular a few years ago, but this documentary, I had a friend telling me I have to watch this documentary before I even started looking into it. Like, it's just a must-see. They said it's a must-see documentary. Just watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
it will be famous. Little do you know. It's not because you're a revolutionary case. It's because you'll be famous for inmates exposing the fact that you're getting pounded in the shower by dominant, aggressive, female, masculine inmates who are using sausages and cucumbers wrapped in saran wrap as appendages to do the dirty deed to you in the shower. That's why everyone will know your name.
It could be. You always were a mover and a shaker.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me see him to get there because he's been a mess thinking about you. So hold on.
Hi, baby.
Hey, Dad.
Oh God, here's his doofus.
I love you so much.
Huh? What's going on? You feeling okay? You doing okay?
I don't know. I've been in my room a really long time.
Did you get my message?
Hold on. I'm texting someone back right now.
Did you get my text?
I know. I'm looking. I have to.
Yeah, hey, Dad, Papa, Pappy, Papa, shut your mouth. I'm trying to send a text to one of my buddies. Shut up. I'm texting.
It's wild that they can even be texting, right? To me, that's still wild.
Somebody right now. Please shut your dang mouth, Dada.
I have to finish this one before.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Stay on the phone though.
Okay, I'm not going anywhere.
No, you'll do what she says. You will do what she says.
Back already. Did you send one like yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I texted you back.
Okay.
Did you see it?
No, not yet. I haven't left the bed.
Oh. Yeah, this is so sad.
Florida, you know, Pumpkin. Florida, you know.
Oh, people are.
This whole case has like a bizarro energy to it, doesn't it? It's like a wild energy that family has. Shadow and I pick up on it. David, thank you for the super chat. Great stream. Watched the doc and jumped on here. How about that? So I'm glad you found us, David. We have an awesome flock of black sheep here. Everyone should welcome David for being so generous. The super chats help us pay for Shadow the Night Owl here's soy-free hootie snacks. He does hoy-free because he's very testosterone conscious. And he doesn't want to have to be injecting himself with peptides like clavicular. I caught him watching some clavicular the other day. So we don't need that. But thank you very much, David. We appreciate it.
I just hate it here so much. You don't even understand.
Oh,
like,
do
I
ya?
fucking hate it here.
No, that
Is it not as advertised? Were the rooms not spacious enough and the mattress not plush? Did you not get a sleep number bed? Well, I tell you, a prison is just a lot worse than they made it out to be. But of course she doesn't like it there. It's prison. It's a punishment.
the judge did you dirty.
I know.
Oh, God.
So, okay, I got to give you the phone.
All right.
Love you.
I love you, Dad.
Sam said, I want you to know I heard the results. I wholeheartedly on my soul wish you the best, Mackenzie. I'll always be thinking about you.
Who said that?
Sam. Jessica?
Yeah, Sam. Sam, short for Samantha. Sam said, yeah.
I will say this. We're living in the generation where there's going to be a lot of entitled kids because there's going to be a lot of parents that kind of doing the reverse of their parents. So their parents would maybe belittle, dismiss, invalidate. And so there's people that are like, you know what? I'm going to do the opposite. But then they go too far and they just kind of give in and give their kids whatever they want. And there can be a fair amount of, I think, not true monsters, but just ridiculous people, I think, that are coming around the corner here. Also, we're going to start seeing the after effects of social media and what it's doing to people. We're starting to see what it's like for people to have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat from their developmental years. We're seeing that generation. They're growing up right now. And from Shadow and I's perspective, not the best. Not the best. I mean, think about it. You can be a freaking high school girl, and if you're pretty enough, you can become a little mini celebrity, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, or whatever. I don't know if that's a good thing. Puts them in danger, even if they don't even realize it, but it does. But this is a true story. Now, as a guy, I guess if you're attractive enough as a guy, but you also have a skill, like you know how to do like a TikTok dance, okay, then you can probably get popular on TikTok too. So, yeah, but this is what we're growing up with now. It's going to be very interesting.
Sorry to hear about that. I'll always be thinking about you. But anyway, she's going to go about her days, running by Starbucks, getting her cheddar bacon pretzel bun sandwich for breakfast and her vanilla latte iced macchiato, and then she's going to go to work, and then she's going to come home and she's going to grab her a bow box from Bojangles with her chicken tenders and watch some good old programs on Netflix with her husband and kids and just enjoy freedom and normal life and never probably ever think about you again. But Sam did want me to say, hang in there.
This one, I used to walk around with boy occasionally. She was like, you don't have to worry. I can tell there's more to the story, and you guys are good people. And
yeah, I was also thinking about, like, imagine all the kids that I used to babysit, and they're probably just like, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe it. Like, what if that could have been my kid? And that shit, like, has been stressing me out.
honey, don't worry about
Oh yeah, no, all the kids used to babysit. Yeah, imagine.
Stressing her out. It's interesting what stresses her out, right? Shadow says. Interesting that how she is perceived by others is stressing her out. More so than the fact that those other two people are dead. What does that tell you? So we always say narcissistic people more concerned about how the appearance of reality is and how people are perceiving them. And here she is basically confirming it without knowing it. Now, of course, her parents, they don't know either. But us here, the flock of black sheep, right, Danielle? We understand this. Sikorsky and Annie, you guys understand. She just told herself, I care more about how I'm perceived than actually the fact that these two people are dead.
Imagine they had my kid buckled in the car seat and she slammed into a freaking brick wall going 107. Yeah, that could have been my kid. Yeah, they're probably like, good riddance. Good thing we got her behind bars. I mean, come on.
Don't worry about that part. Everybody knows who you are. Everybody knows who you are.
But I'm gonna call you back.
Okay.
If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe to Phone Calls from Prison on YouTube.
Yes,
and if you'd
sir.
like to hear explicit calls not allowed
Phone calls
on
from
YouTube,
prison.
Check out PCFP's Patreon.
I wonder how they get them. Is it like an FOIA thing? FOIC or whatever that acronym is.
Shout
so
out
much
to
for
them.
listening.
Clip number 2. Oh my God.
I'm going to put you on speaker so that I
Uh-oh.
can write. Okay?
What are you writing? Oh, what
Your
I wrote?
speech. Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yes, but read kind of slow.
Okay, to the families of Dom and Davion. Do you have that?
Uh-huh.
I've said it a million times,
Okay.
but I am so deeply sorry.
Uh-huh.
I hope one day
But,
you can see
uh-huh.
I would never let this happen
Okay.
or do it on purpose.
Uh-huh.
I am just heartbroken.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I practiced doing this 7 times in a row to make sure that this would never happen. So after those 7 times, I know what to avoid doing so that I never end up crashing my boyfriend and my other friend into a wall.
I mean, it's still very interesting that she thought that the seatbelt would save her. Now, she turned out to be correct, but I think that was a pretty big gamble. Like, you could almost argue, if you're a defense lawyer, you maybe could argue a suicide attempt, no? Like, wouldn't you try to do that just in her defense? B, why didn't they try to do that in court for her? Why wasn't that their defense in court?
Yes. Now I see, Mackenzie. Oh my gosh, you're innocent. Oh my gosh. Free Mackenzie. Justice for Mackenzie Shirilla.
Wish I could take all your pain away.
Uh-huh.
Long live the boys.
Okay.
And then to my family and support.
Uh-huh.
I thank you. I thank you all
Okay.
for seeing the real.
Go ahead.
For seeing the real, to my support. I'm getting a lot of Wade Wilson vibes here. I'm not going to lie. To my family.
Right, and B, though, I mean, if I'm a defense lawyer, why not try to play that angle, though? That's a shadow the defense lawyer would do. Say, like, you tried to end your own life, and yes, it was careless of you to have 2 other people there, but you might try to do that. I don't know. Well, I guess maybe that's why you don't, but I would feel like it's an interesting case.
Me and the support. Thank you for recognizing the real. Realize real lies. You understand me? 100 facts.
Under all these lies,
Facts.
Go ahead.
thank you for nonstop fighting
Okay.
for me and all the love
Okay.
and support.
Uh-huh.
I love you all so much.
Okay.
And then I pray one day
Uh-huh.
people won't see me as this monster they're making me out to be.
Who's they?
The prosecution in court, the judge.
Okay.
The people who are presenting all the evidence of the fact that I murdered 2 innocent people. Yeah.
Now, I definitely think, if not ending her own life attempt, I think blacking out would have been a better defense, honestly, than playing dumb. Blacking out. Now, granted, maybe she didn't have the drugs in her system to be able to do that, but if she did, blacking out would have been a much better defense, I think, than playing dumb.
Those people.
That they're making me out to be. Thank you. So that's what I wrote.
You should even say something like, I pray people won't see me as this monster if you got a chance. Yeah. Well, then you're fine.
I'm just gonna say what I said.
Yep. It's perfect, Kenzie. Okay.
Tell people to send me messages.
I will, but it's Saturday. You know what I mean? It's the weekend. They may be.
I tell you what, I should.
And considering, though, B, I'm kind of surprised they were able to to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt that that's what it was. Murder. It is interesting. Now, again, I don't know the entire case inside and out, but it seems like a case where the defense should have been able to poke a hole in it, or should have been able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that that wasn't the intention. But that's exactly what the prosecution was able to determine. Yes, that was the intention. I'm actually surprised the DA felt confident filing it, honestly, especially as I'm reading Matt Murphy's book. And by the way, Matt Murphy is going to be on the show. That was the other announcement I forgot to tell you. So we're going to talk to Matt Murphy. And I'm kind of surprised because it didn't seem cut and dry. But they did it. They got it done.
Send you a message, you little silly little. I should send you a message.
Be out or doing things, you know me, but I will. I'll try and tell him to set up video calls too. What do you like better?
Both. Video calls and message. Maybe both.
Okay. So, I don't know why I went to my desk to write that.
If I sent her a message, I would probably just
See, if I'm a defense lawyer, B, I would just say, I sometimes go for strolls, don't you? I just drive around occasionally, don't you? It seems to me like, now again, did she probably do it on purpose? Probably. I'm just saying, I think it could have been something a good defense lawyer would have been able to poke a hole in.
just say, "Hello, ma'am, aka murderer. I'd like to inform you, you heavily resemble the cartoon character Ducky from Land Before Time, as pictured here." End of message. That's all I'd say.
I thought I just did it in my notes on my phone.
What's Dad doing?
I don't know, but Auntie just showed me something. Somebody's going off on Facebook again, and I swear to God, they know everything. They're posting everything everywhere, and it's like spot on.
Who is it?
I don't know who this is.
It's
I
a new
told her
person?
to Tiffany. It's that same one.
So the thing is, B, I heard that it was a bench trial. Why was it a bench trial, though? Like, why wasn't there a jury? So that's interesting to me. I think having a jury would have benefited her, I think, as opposed to having it be a bench trial. So I'm a defense attorney, I'd say, why the hell is this a bench trial? Now, maybe they're the ones that actually recommended it. I don't know. But how did it work, B?
But they know everything about everything somehow, and I don't know who it is. Yeah, Daddy was like, did I write this?
Again?
Yeah.
Wow, that seems like a terrible choice for the defense attorney. Why the hell would they ever do that? Yeah, he did suck. I agree then. Was it a woman or a man? That's ridiculous. Shadow and I, the defense lawyer in us, we're just shaking our heads at this. This is out of control. And granted, she's probably guilty, like I'm saying. But just in terms of being a freaking attorney, it's like, what the hell is going on here? You're going to do a bench trial? What? What? That's insane. And you recommend it? You wanted it? You wanted the bench trial?
Yep. So
What are they saying this time?
like new update. I just found out that dude lives in her basement and she's been his lawyer for years, and there's a criminal living in the house, and I mean just everything, Ken.
What the fuck?
Everything. I don't know how
Girl.
they know this stuff.
Oh my
So, yeah, I told
gosh.
Auntie Tiffany to see if she can contact them to see who that is. Who is that?
What the fuck? I need to know who that is.
That's what I'm saying. The only thing is, it you can be anybody. They did use one word that points to them being a younger person,
What'd
but
they say?
obviously, bruh.
They said, bruh. So they're a younger person. All right, well, that narrative.
Well, all these cars now have a black box, and they can tell from the black box if your car's accelerating pedal is all the way to the floor. So every car has a black box. I knew airplanes have a black box, but every car does now too.
down. I mean, how many younger people do you think hate her? How many friends, loved ones, cousins, nephews, nieces, classmates, teammates were associated with the two people she rammed into a wall?
I mean, overall, this case is pretty wild to me because, again, it's a pretty big gamble she was even taking to do this and not be dead herself, right?
Anyone. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm dead as fuck. I'm dead as fuck. Oh my gosh, it just pisses me off just hearing her talk like this. Oh my gosh, shut up. You will be dead as fuck in prison.
I think they're younger, but who cares? I mean, of course they would know everything if they're younger, right? Like this is definitely. Well, they used it one time. I'm like, okay.
That's the thing, though. Doesn't seem like she's really that in that kind of state of mind. She doesn't seem like it. But again, that also points to more of like a borderline thing, right? Because borderlines have that emptiness on the inside. Narcissists can too, but with borderlines, they'll act out in different ways. And you see that with younger women. I mean, she was what, 17 at the time? So you're a hormonal teenager. You're a hormonal teenager. You probably have a personality disorder. You might have be secondary psychopathy. And then here you are. So combine those two things. People with borderline, I think 1 in 10 people with borderline end their own life successfully. They have the highest rate of ending their own life successfully of any diagnosis, borderlines. So they are willing to go through with it. And from the looks of this, I mean, you couldn't tell me that wasn't one. It wasn't an end your own life attempt. Granted, seatbelt, okay. But I'm still surprised she was saved. I'm surprised she's not a paraplegic.
Okay, so this is a younger.
Clearly this mom didn't get to like fully live out her younger years when she was a young person. And it's just like, oh my gosh, Mackenzie, bruh.
Yeah, I heard some of it, B. I heard him saying about you need to apologize or you locked me out of the house. That part of the conversation, I did see that. And I definitely knew just from that she's wearing the pants. She was in control of their relationship. She had him wrapped around her finger. And granted, I don't know if he was perfect or not, but she definitely seemed like the more dominant one.
If you know, big facts, 100. Yeah, YOLO. Like, ma'am, you are so cringe. Please quit. Please stop.
Person.
Ugh.
I want you to ask that one person if you do it.
Yeah, we're trying to find out. They're like they're stretching and twisting everything, and none of this is true. And they did not all live with the family. He rented a house next door, and they're making it sound like they did. I mean, Kenzie, it's everything.
Oh my gosh.
I love whoever that freaking is. Keep talking, buddy. I love who that is.
Yeah, we need more people talking like that.
Well, there is a lot of it, but whoever that is like knows intimate details somehow.
I love that.
Which is fine. Me too. Yeah. Keep
no,
talking.
You don't.
For sure. And I'm going to respond to the media outlets, I think, today.
Yes, please.
I'm scared, though. I am going to.
No, don't be
You just need
scared
to-
or have Dad do it.
Well,
if you're scared,
no.
like.
I'm not. No. I'm not scared.
Okay.
I
good.
just need to.
That's a good manipulation there by her. Telling them they're scared. It's like telling Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, what are you, chicken? So she knows what she's doing. I'll tell my mom she's scared. I got to wrap around my finger. And she didn't want to be the scared one, so she's going to do. Slick. Thick as thieves, she is.
I need to really formulate my words carefully. That's all. I'm not scared, Kevy. When I say I'm scared, I'm not scared to do it. I need to be careful to make sure that I'm doing it right. That's all because, one word.
One word. If I slip up just one little bit, then I'll reveal the fact that you actually are guilty of intentionally murdering these innocent people. I'm just terrified of the idea that my little girl would not get away with cold-blooded murder. It just really scares me, Kenzie. It scares me.
Could make her twist things. You know what I'm saying? So I just need to get legal counsel to make sure what I'm going to say is okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you know me. I don't fart without making sure it's okay. How was that for the prosecution listening?
Excuse me? What did you just say?
Counsel to make sure what I'm going to say is okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you know me. I don't fart without making sure it's okay.
I don't fart without making sure it's okay.
You know me, I don't fart without making sure it's okay. Oh. Well, ma'am, I'd love to know your secret because, you know, I have experienced a few times where I thought I had a safe fart and it turned out to be a little more than that, and I ruined some good pairs of shorts. I'd love to know your secret, Betty Crocker. Betty Crapper.
That's why they say, B, love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably shit.
Shitty Crocker. Why are you such an expert on knowing when to fart and when not to fart? Very weird.
How was that for the prosecution listening?
Oh, no. Hold on, Mom. I'm about to get in the shower.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love you, love you, love you. I'm going to call you back.
Okay, bye, baby. Love you.
I love you. I gotta call you. I gotta call you back. Big Bertha and Big Brenda McGee got their dildos out and they're ready to ram me. I gotta get in the shower. Bye, 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 bye. I love you, love you, love you, love you. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go right now. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go.
Love you too.
Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
Oh man, she's gonna get Big Brenda. She gonna put that big. It's gonna be the end of Mackenzie.
I hope karma comes back and bites everybody that's against you in the ass so hard that they all disappear. That's all I said. And if I had a magic wand, I wouldn't go back and help Davian first. I'd make everybody else disappear. I'd click my fingers and everybody would disappear.
Did he just say, if I had a magic wand, I would not go back and save the life of one of the people you killed, but I would instead make everyone who is angry at you for murdering Davion disappear? Wow. Well, now we know why she turned out the way she did, the way she was raised, and how her parents really are. You know, hey, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't save Davion. I'd eliminate anyone who was angry at you for murdering Davion. What a little loser.
That's what I would do. That's how angry I am. They screwed you so bad.
Papa Cuckold is angry. I would instead make everyone who is angry at you for murdering. It's gonna be the end of Mackenzie.
I hope karma comes back and bites everybody that's against you in the ass so hard that they all disappear. That's all I said. And if I had a magic wand, I wouldn't go back and help Davian first. I'd make everybody else disappear. I'd click my fingers and everybody would disappear.
Did he?
Daddy's little girl.
Just say, if I had a magic wand, I would not go back and save the life of one of the people you killed, but I would instead make everyone who is angry at you for murdering Davion disappear. Wow. Well, now we know why she turned out the way she did, the way she was raised, and how her parents really are. You know, hey, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't save Davion. I'd eliminate anyone who was angry at you for murdering Davion. What a little loser.
That's what I would do. That's how angry I am. They screwed you so bad.
Papa Cuckold is angry.
Hello? Hey, those two, Nina and Bubba, to shout off the rooftops for you.
I know.
Actually, he's coming over. They're coming over. Here,
When?
our house. To talk to me about things.
I know.
Okay.
I didn't say Nina and Bubba. I said Rosie. Nina and Bubba.
That's what I mean. Sorry, not Nina. Not Nina. That's what I'm talking about.
I feel like Bubba's more like riding for me because he's like than Rosie. Like it's weird as fuck.
Because he's her. I think that was her. I'm gonna ask her that when she comes over.
Ask her what?
Oh, now we got the mom speaking this silly little language. We've already deciphered this in previous videos. It's the stupidest little language ever.
Oh.
Okay, that's who I think.
Me too.
Right. So just, I know your anxiety and you got fear and stuff like that, but
I don't have fear. I just I don't try to be a part of the loop if you're just like
what do you mean? That's what I mean.
like the rat or something like that's weird as fuck.
No, that's what I mean. So just pause on that. I know it's hard to not feel that way.
Like I'm very weirded the fuck out. Like I don't. That's just.
Hold on. She's in a bad mood.
I'm sorry, in a bad mood. I'm just
I'm
calling
not
to
in
tell
a
you that I
bad
love you.
mood. What is?
Well,
I'm not in a bad mood.
Okay. I love you.
I love you too, Dad. Like what the fuck? Like what does that have to do with you?
Listen, this weak ass man. Oh, sweet cake, sweetie cheeks. Oh my goodness, little pumpkin spice latte. Oh, my little pumpkin spice latte. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you're angry and raising your voice with me. I'm so sorry. I know you're a murderer and you're a horrible person, but oh my gosh, please be sweet to me. Oh my gosh. This father has no ability to instill discipline and right or wrong into his daughter. He is a pushover. He is a weak man. And that's a big reason why your daughter felt it was okay to murder people and then complain like, oh my God, can you believe they gave me prison time for killing people?
Talking to me. That's weird.
I love you. I got in trouble last night or this morning.
Why?
I got in trouble.
Who?
Mommy got mad at me.
You got in trouble as a grown man. You're a grown man and supposed to be the leader and father of this household. And you got in trouble. I got in some big trouble last night. I got a spanking. Oh my gosh. Ugh.
For what?
So that must mean in like 2 weeks we're going to get in a car accident and I'm going to be charged with murder and felonious assault and stuff, because in Strongsville, if you speed, it's, it's something bad anyway. Anyway.
I think we just heard a premeditated confession from the dad. Yeah, your mom, I got in trouble last night. Your mom was real mad at me about something. So in the future, if you hear about me ramming your mama into a wall, just know it's murder. I guess that's murder these days, right? Because of what they did to you. I mean, oh man, I'm thinking about doing the same thing. I think I'm going to take me a good old 115 mile an hour drive into the side of a 7-Eleven and just take your mama out because she got mad at me this weekend. What are we talking about? This is such a weird. Oh my gosh.
I love you very much. I'm angry for you, baby. I'm just letting you know I'm angry. Every waking second that I'm thinking is about you. That's all I'm thinking about. I just want to let you know I love you so much. And I cannot believe you are being put through this. This is. I hope karma comes back and bites everybody that's against you in the ass so hard that they all disappear. That's all I said. And if I had a magic wand, I wouldn't go back and help Davey and first. I'd make everybody else disappear. I'd click my fingers and everybody would disappear. That's what I would do. That's how angry I am.
What?
They screwed you so bad. Okay, I gotta go. Bye. I love you. I love you.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, brother. Yeah. I gotta go. Yeah, you do need to go. What are you talking about? What kind of ritual? What kind of witchcraft are you over here talking? I would cut my fingers and draw the appropriate amount of blood to make the sacrificial ritual ceremony to make everyone who witnessed your murders disappear. I would not help the people you murdered. What are you talking about? I would cut my fingers. What? Dude. No wonder you got a sick little, weird little, silly little daughter. Like, the mother wants to be her. The father's afraid of her because he probably wants to have incestual pedophilic relations with her. It's sick.
I love you. I'm on your side 100%. And I know you do this on purpose.
I love you, Dad.
Okay. So that's what I mean. You got an army of people fighting out here, baby, okay? You can't talk on the phone like.
Yes, I'm on my period here, and then like I just like feel gross as fuck. Like,
but I need to tell you though.
Oh, you are gross. You're gross as fuck. You are absolutely
chat.
gross as fuck.
We are all. Yep, we are all that way. How Daddy's feeling, okay? And they are part of that.
If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to subscribe.
Hi, I'm Dr. Christina Green, and I'm.
All right. Well, that's the end of Jumpsuit Pablo there. That's also the end of the Wizard of Radical Self-Respect for the evening. Shadow and I thank everyone for all the support. Everyone should congratulate Julie Bugg's brother and sister-in-law for making her an aunt again. Rocking and rolling over there. So Autumn, D, Nanny, B. Song bits I've seen. Christy's already gone. Ruth. No Sweet Caroline today. But we had one Australian representative. Have a great night, Ruth and Wendy and B and D. D. I will see you all tomorrow in some form or another. Keep your eyes open. Have a great night, Tim. It's always good to have you here. Same with Dale. 8 kids. Oh my God. How do you afford 8 kids in this day and age, huh? Dr. Salerno interview will be uploaded tomorrow. By the way, I got a question before you leave, folks. Do you like it when I do a small introduction for the interviews, or do you prefer it when I just go straight to the interview? Have a great night, Teresa. Because I do the introduction sometimes, but I've been doing them many times, I should say. But we shall see. Have a great night, Autumn. You too, Nanny. Shadow and I appreciate all your support. So, okay, Nanny, I got you. Small intro. Okay, good. All righty, folks. That's what we'll do then. So, till next time, you all have a great night.